This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
Essendon season is on the line tonight. The Bombers need to win against the Gold Coast Suns to keep their finals hopes alive with 3 rounds to play. With wins today for GWS over Brisbane, West Coast over North Melbourne, and Geelong finishing strongly over Fremantle. Who would tell you what they would know what is going to happen with any sort of prediction. Great to have your company for Saturday night footy under the roof of Docklands. It's round 22 of the AFL as the Bombers host the Gold Coast Suns. So much so it's got me losing my voice. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. Jess Webster to call the action with me. Take over for me, Jess.
Hello, Clinchy. Great to be here tonight. This is a game that Essendon should win, and that is what makes me nervous for their fans tonight. Coming up against a Gold Coast Suns side who are on the slide. They've lost their last 3. Their coach, Damien Hardwick, has swung the act, dropped Jack Lukosius among 4 changes tonight. So he'll be looking for a response from his troops. But all eyes on the Bombers tonight. Big opportunity. They need to make it count.
And Damien Hardwick laid down the law to his team in the post-match press conference, having lost to the West Coast Eagles by 10 points last week. Adam Ramanatskis, Luke Baller here, and ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. Look, I'm glad you're emotional already, Clinchy, because that's what the Essendon supporters might be later in this game also. But yes, look, it's a must-win for the Bombers, and I'm sure, look, Damien Hardwick certainly did make some hard selections, and he needed to. It was a real statement piece for Gold Coast.
Harry Jones plays his 50th game for the Bombers tonight, and they have won on the 6 occasions in which they played the Gold Coast Suns under the roof of Docklands. So looking to win to keep their September hopes alive now for a 1-point win against the Fremantle Dockers. We know the Gold Coast Suns story. They haven't won away from home in season 2024. Can they break that trend before the home and away season comes to a close? The scene is set for Saturday night footy, round 22 of the AFL. It's Essendon and the Gold Coast Suns. Here's Jess Webster to get us underway.
Witts and Bryan to contest the first ball up. Here we go. We're underway. Bryan taps it down. Rowell tracking after it for the Suns. Couldn't take it cleanly. He goes in again, does Matt Rowell. Tackled immediately by Caldwell before Rowell got the hand pass out to Weller, and now off to Graham on centre wing. Can send the Suns inside forward 50. King, the target, coming across brilliantly and taking the intercept grab is Jaden Laverty in defence for the Bombers.
Laverty looks up the wing, puts it in the direction of a fly mark. Sammy Durham can't take the mark. The Suns with a chance to reload. Weller gave it to Closey. Kicks up towards Humphrey. He marks it left half forward. Looks inside 50. McAndrew has started forward once more. Wheels onto his right-hand side. In the direction of Ben King. In a wrestle with Harry Mackay. Splits down to the front. Long with a hand pass away. Flanders on the right boot for the opening goal of the match. Inside a minute. The Gold Coast Suns are on the board. 1 straight 6 for the Bombers yet to score. The final member of our team sitting in the front row. Rory Campbell, welcome to you.
Everyone, it's a pretty healthy crowd in here so far this evening. A little bit sparse on the top deck, and they've certainly been quiet by that first goal. The siren rang out, everyone's excitement leading up to that first bounce, but the Gold Coast Suns certainly quietening them down, and hopefully we're in for a good game of footy this evening. We've had some September-ish weather here in Melbourne the last couple of days. Not that it makes too much difference here under the roof, but hopefully we get a bit of a glimpse of maybe some September-style footy.
Had a terrific season, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Flanders gone onto the ball, become a permanent midfielder, and he's a prolific ball winner. Had time being able to push forward and get on the end of one. Good contest. Ben King brought the ball to ground. Ben Long involved. So good early start from the Suns. Couple of inside 50s from the centre bounce. No tags, no obvious tags. Rowell, Graham going head-to-head. Anderson going head-to-head with the Bombers mids.
From the restart, Bryan slips the Witts tackle, then tumbles it towards forward 50 for the Bombers to Langford, knocked away from him. Durham laying a tackle on Weller, and we'll have a ball up at centre half forward for Essendon. Come into tonight's game after a thrilling 1-point victory over Fremantle last week. Prior to that, they lost their last 3. Witts palms it down, Merritt toes it forward. Durham sweeping hand pass inside forward 50, picked off by Closey for the Suns, and now off to Flanders, the goal kicker, who can send it down the line. Good mark from Ben King, a long way from home. Marks on centre wing, just inside the centre square. Bombs it long inside the arc. Long the target, Laverty right there with him. Ball bouncing towards the line. Long chases after it, couldn't take it cleanly. Picked up by Kelly of the Bombers. He's dragged down by Holman. And we will have a ball up inside forward 50 for the Suns.
What's happening early in this game? Flanders is coming all the way up to the contest. He's starting half forward. His direct opponent is Mason Redman. And Redmond's just letting him go, so he's going to lose Redmond in traffic. I think we got a little blood rule here?
Yeah, blood rule here. So Jake Kelly is going to come from the field with some blood coming from
the head,
the top of his head. So we'll get Rory to keep an eye on that. Sam Draper's the other one who started forward tonight.
But I just think with Flanders, he's Wally mentioned it, he's had such a good year and he finds so much of the football. I don't know if Essendon can allow that tonight, where he just goes up to the contest and he has no opponent. Like, Mason Redmond's going to have to sit back and really read that play well.
Averaging 31.6 disposals for the season, Sam Flanders for the Gold Coast Suns. Thrown up, Witts and Bryan, it spills down. Here's Flanders on cue once more. Kicks towards the goal mouth, it bounces offline to the right-hand side, and all the opening scoring has been the Suns. 1-1-7 to the Bombers, yet to score through 3 minutes in the opening term on ABC Sport.
Bombers bring it in. Cox sharing it with McGrath. Gives it to Parrish, and now the chip kick over the top to Colville is marked in front of the interchange gates in the broadcast wing. Sweeping hand pass over the top to Langford. 2 kicks from goal. Pokes it to half forward, and running onto it brilliantly is Jones, the 50 gamer, who sends it to a vacant goal square. It doesn't have the accuracy. Away to the left. The first Bombers score of the evening. The Suns 1-1-7 lead Essendon. 1 behind, 4 minutes played, opening term on ABC Sport.
Good attacking ball movement, isn't it? Yeah. Strong use of the forward handball there, the Bombers. Done that really effectively this year. Yeah, untouched from the Suns.
Powell into Weller in the back pocket, kicks up towards Collins, got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark as Andrew lays the tackle on Cox, and it's locked up in front of the broadcast wing.
Interesting matchup, that one. Nick Cox and Mac Andrews. So Andrew playing forward. Both 200 centimetres plus, both extremely athletic.
Yeah, both still trying to learn their role as Matt Rowell gets a clearance, kicks up towards half forward. Long caught in front as the kick sails over his head, and Laverty takes the intercepting mark for the Bombers. Wants to get it to Nick Martin just over the fingertips of Humphrey, and through the middle of the ground, Parrish is all on his own. Thinks about the hand pass to Langford, gives it over the top, and the Bombers have it at centre half forward. Inside 50, kicks to Draper. He didn't read it all that well, and Collins comes leading out and takes the mark for the Suns. Kicks out towards Closey, who marks at left half back.
Kicks down the line, a good kick, and finds Humphrey in front of the interchange gates. Moves it further afield to Long, who's made a lead at left half forward. 70 out from goal, wheels around on the right boot, sends it to a dangerous position at the top of the square. King hands to it, no mark. McAndrew overran it. Flanders is there, laying a tackle on Redmond. He gets the hand pass defensively to Martin, who had a fumble. McAndrew picks it up for Gold Coast. Off to Rogers. Now to Long, hemmed up against the boundary line. 40 from home, a squaring kick. It's an up and under. Anderson is there, knocked away from him. Holman comes bursting through, gives it to Davies, off to Witts. Hand passes defensively to Bodie. Ewan from 48, out. Sends it to the goal mouth, and it's rushed over for a minor score. Gold Coast 1-8, Essendon 1 behind. 6 minutes travelled, opening term on ABC Sport.
He just loves to see Ben King clunk that one. Had the sit, didn't he? He's in good position. It's a couple of times already now. He's got his hands to the ball, hasn't been able to mark it. It's been the challenge really all year for Gold Coast, converting their inside. They haven't had any trouble getting the ball inside 50. Had real trouble converting that connection between their mids and fours. Good to see little Jake Rogers into the team tonight. Here he is.
The voice of Luke Ball alongside Adam Romanascus as Rogers gets a hand pass to Closey. Long towards Ben King, sets himself and pulls in the mark. Had the mismatch on Nick Cox and was able to take full toll, and marks only about 15 metres out.
Well, it's not a mismatch. It's just the inexperience of Nick Cox playing as a defender. Nick Cox is looking for body contact. That's not his go. He's got to jump at the football there, and Ben King knew that. Ben King he's now an experienced forward in this competition, King, and just jumped at the ball and took really in the end an easy mark.
Leads the way with 49 goals of the season. Ben King looking for the Suns second. He comes in from 15 metres out and puts it through. The Gold Coast Suns off to a promising start here under the roof of Docklands. They're 2-2-14 to the Bombers 1 behind. They haven't started first quarters all that well, winning just 6 for 2024. They are on the board here with the opening 2 goals of the match. Adam Romanascus and Luke Ball.
As we were saying, Ramo, it hasn't been an issue, the inside 50s this year from the Gold Coast. We know their midfield's their strength, and they've started very well on that front today. It's just been that ability to convert inside 50 opportunities. And I mean, he's had a good year, Ben King. That's his 50th goal, so that's obviously a terrific return. And it could have been a lot more, as we know. He hasn't had his kicking boots on for a lot of the year, so he's looked dangerous already, hasn't he? As I said, got his hands to a couple that time. It stuck. It was a nice kick to advantage. And it's good to see little Jake Rogers get his opportunity into the team. I think the opportunity's there when the ball hits the ground. They've struggled all year Gold Coast at the 4, the ball inside 50. So big role for him tonight.
Promising start to the Suns, but Essendon win it out of the middle. Shield, hand pass to Durham and gives it back to Shield. On the edge of the centre square, a looping hand pass to Parrish at half forward for the Bombers. Hand pass to Langford, hooks the kick around the corner on the right. Marked by Menzies on the goal line. He's marked just outside the goal square on a tough angle in the left forward pocket, and this for the Bombers first.
Well, Essendon taking the ball forward. That's their 4th inside 50 for the game. They're using forward handball quite effectively at the moment.
Jai Menzies will snap on the right and send it through, and the Bombers are on the board. Gold Coast 2-2-14, Essendon 1-1-7, 8.5 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskis.
Really noticeable, isn't it, Rama? Yeah, and I think they started to, that's how they got their game going a bit in that second half last week, and certainly around clearance, in particular centre clearance. They were really dynamic last week. Great to see Parrish back into the middle of the ground. Dylan Shield as well, starting to look a little bit like the Dylan Shield of old. So it looks to me like they've gone back to those pure mids in Merritt, Parrish and Shield in the middle of the ground, Rama, which has pushed Durham out a little bit. Yes, he can pinch hit Caldwell as well, but like the fact that they've gone back to their all Australian calibre first class mids in the middle of the ground.
Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Jake Kelly had the doctors working on his head for a little while. There's quite a bit of blood coming out of that cut on his head, but he's just ran out into the ground with a nice healthy dollop of Vaseline there.
Thanks, Rory. McAndrew into the ruck up against Brian here. It comes down the way of Zach Merritt. Classy move as he swings onto his left-hand side. Kicks inside 50. Stringer on the lead. Can't hang on. Ballard makes the spoil. Caddy gathers. Hand pass to Menzies. Opens up the angle and he's right for back-to-back goals. He hits the right goal post. Almost 3/4 of the way up. Almost a perfect transition for the Bombers. And it's the Suns who lead by 6 points.
Should have finished that. Jai Menzies. That's what he's in the team for. Those quick little opportunities. Got to take those.
Will Power with a kick in for the Suns to a pack on the wing. Gets out the back. Holman is there for the Suns. Gets the hand pass out to Closey. Up against the boundary line. A spearing pass towards Long. The ball just dropped at his feet and couldn't gather it. Graham goes in for the Suns. He's tackled immediately by Laverty. The umpire says, I'll have it. Between wing and half forward for Gold Coast. And they lead Essendon by 6 points early stages first term.
The voice of Jess Webster alongside Matt Clinch calling the action. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskis, your experts, with Rory Campbell on the boundary. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Parrish's hand pass left a little for Langford still to do. It gathers in congestion. Hand pass to Jones, to Bryan. He kicks it like a sack of wheat up towards half forward. Stringer couldn't gather. Davey with a little toe poke, but it's well picked up by Lemons. 1-2 with Flanders. Kicks out in front of Sexton, or it may work with Rogers. Good clean pickup. Trying to get it back to Sexton. Breaking the tackle was Roberts, did well. Hand pass to Davey, a couple of the youngsters getting involved. Hand pass to Nick Martin, looks into the middle of the ground, and Shield takes the mark.
70 out at left half forward, he'll kick it long to a 2-on-1 favouring Gold Coast. Ballard, did he shove out his opponent? Yes, free kick to Nate Caddy, 15 out from goal. Slight angle to the right.
Yeah, and it's very slight. There's not much in that at all from Ballard. He didn't need to actually put his hands in the back of Nate Caddy because they had the 2-on-1 in the marking contest. So it's really he just needed a little bit of body there. And the Clohessy could have came in and taken that intercept mark.
The 19-year-old draftee playing just his 8th game of AFL footy, and this for goal number 7 of his career, and he sneaks it in. And the Bombers have their second. Scores a level here under the roof. Gold Coast 2-2-14, Essendon 2-2-14. 12 minutes played, opening term on ABC Sport. Your experts, Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskis.
Yeah, the umpire was right there, wasn't he, Rama? You're right. They had the 2-on-1 against the young forward from the Bombers, so just needed to be a little bit more subtle there. Charlie Ballard, the two hands clearly outstretched to the back. You're right, not a heap in it. He made sure the umpire saw it, Nate Caddy, but yeah, that'll be disappointing. Just an easy goal,
out.
Isn't it? Easy out, exactly, from an entry that they should have been able to handle. So that'll disappoint Damien Hardwick. But pretty good even start, isn't it? Both teams just feeling their way through it at the moment. Clearance looks like it's going to have a big bearing on the game, obviously, with both these teams being pretty strong through that part of the ground.
Luke Ball with you on ABC Sport. The Suns with the opening 2 goals of the match. The Bombers with the last 2 as Draper wins down the tap. Shield bursts away from the stoppage, away from McAndrew. Inside 50, it clears Langford and Newland, who got a fist to it. Collins' hand pass, chopped off by Caddy. Swats it down to Davey, trying to break the tackle, but Collins determined as he wrapped him up. takes him across the boundary line in the left forward pocket for the Bombers.
That was good by Collins. He made that mistake on handball and then followed up and laid the tackle.
Umpire spins the ball back in a play. Lemons has a go for the Suns. Couldn't take it with them. Plenty of numbers around the ball. They all dive on top. Umpire letting it go a bit. Eventually it spits out the back. Anderson picks it up for Gold Coast. He's tackled immediately and eventually the umpire calls for it. Ball up 30 metres from Essendon's goal.
Pretty dynamic forward six at the moment for the Bombers with Stringer and Davey and Menzie.
Draper wins the tap straight down to Sexton of the Suns, who hacks it out of the danger zone to the wing through the hands of Redmond. Out the back, Mackay. Hand passes off to Martin, who can look forward for Essendon once more.
He wants to chip his kick, asking a little bit of Roberts. Can't hang on to the mark. Davies makes the spoil. It's Rao for the Gold Coast Suns who gathers. Hand pass to Ballard. Out to right half back where Sexton has it. Offering chase is Durham, but he kicks close to the boundary line, and that might be too wide. And in the end, out of bounds on the full. The free kick will go the way of the Bombers. Centre of the city wing. As Martin takes it and quickly comes inboard to Redmond. So the Bombers, having worked their way back slowly into this match, around the back, Shield gives it back to Redmond, turns it straight over, and Anderson might make them pay. He looks up and has Long between the arcs and right half forward, racing towards the goal mouse is Ben King. It's a beautiful kick. He marks and waltzes in for his second. And the Suns just made the Bombers absolutely pay the toll there. A costly turnover. And the Suns are back in front by that margin. 3-2-20 to the Bombers, 2-2-14. 14 minutes gone, opening quarter on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, at the MCG, the Demons with the opening goal against Port Adelaide. They're 1-2-8 to the power, 2 behinds.
Well, you turn the ball over in the middle of the Docklands. Mason Redmond there, just the wrong option. He was going short to Durham. He received the handball back through the middle of the ground. That ball's got to be inside forward 50. And then Gold Coast simply made them pay. So it was a terrific intercept there. Out to Ben Long. Ben Long, a beautiful kick inside forward 50 to Ben King for a really easy goal. Essendon's defenders are no chance when you turn the ball over in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, that hurts, doesn't it, for Ben Mackay? You've already given one up to a contested mark, and then your opponent gets a gimme over the back like that from a turnover.
From the restart, Parrish is hand pass intercepted by Davies, but he couldn't take it with him. Picked up by Martin, sweeping hand pass forward to Shield, tackled by Weller. Got the hand pass out to Merritt, spearing kick inside the arc, a bouncing ball inside forward 50. Picked up by Hewlin. His hand pass couldn't hit a target. Butterick goes in again for the Suns, tackled by Langford, brought to ground. Umpire calls play on. Ball is coughed up. Davies swoops on it for the Bombers. A neat little kick into space, and Stringer's marked 48 out from home.
He looks like he wants to be involved, Jake Stringer, a little bit more. They're starting him really deep in this first quarter, but his involvement so far have been very energetic, which is a good sign for Essendon and Jake Stringer.
38 goals for season 2024 for Jake Stringer. He's going to kick this just right of centre. He's on the approach now. Certainly got the distance in him as he crosses the paint of 50. Shoots towards goal, absolutely flawless. And scores a level again. Essendon 3-2-20, Gold Coast 3-2-20. 16 played opening term on ABC Sport. Luke Bull and Adam Ramanauskas. A fun start to this one.
It has been, Jess. Yeah, you're right. And I mentioned it before. I like the balance of the Essendon forward six. I mean, they got the resting ruckman down there. Well, they did. Anyway, they start the game with Draper or Bryan, who we know can kick goals as well. But then around him with Stringer, the mid-size, obviously Langford and Caddy, but Gresham's down there, Davies down there. They've had Menzie down there hitting the scoreboard. So a little bit more unpredictable and dynamic, the Essendon forward six. So they're looking really dangerous, aren't they, every time they go forward at the moment, which is a bit of a concern for the Suns. It just a few broken tackles from behind the Suns at the moment. The Bombers getting through a few tackles a little bit too easily, which again is a bit of a concern for the Suns coaching staff.
Stringer joins Langford with 39 goals for the season. 20 more goals than the next forward for the Bombers. In the middle of the ground, it's Rao who eventually emerges with the clearance. Kicks the Suns up towards half forward. Charging out Walter over around the footy with Cox there. Good clean pick up to Nick Martin. He kicks up the wing over the head of Dylan Shield. Can't pull in the one-handed mark. Rao for the Suns, hand pass to Weller. Wants to get it to Davies in the middle of the ground. It's Alwyn Davey who knocks it down. A chance for Holman. His hand pass missed Rogers. Working back Zach Merritt. Tries to tap it to Nick Martin's advantage. He did well to hand pass back boundary side, though Menzies is worked off it. And gathering it is Flanders. Hand pass over the top needs support. Rogers gets the hand pass to Graham on the right. Curls it towards goal. He's denied by the goalkeeper. Ben Mackay takes the mark just millimetres out from the goal line.
Scores are level here at Docklands.
The other concern for Gold Coast right now is centre bounce clearance. It's 5-2 in Essendon's favour.
Laverty unsure where to go inside defensive 50. Hand passes to Mackay. Gets around a couple of would-be tacklers. Spearing pass looking for Merritt. It's broken up by Graham. Throws it on the left. It's an ugly kick towards the goal line. It'll trickle towards the boundary line and can't be kept alive, so we'll have a throw-in right beside the right point post deep inside 50 for Gold Coast.
They want to get themselves in trouble in defence, Essendon, at times.
Is that an off-season challenge or personnel?
A bit of both.
Just decision making.
Yeah.
Just being
Yeah,
too cute, isn't it? Yeah, just being a bit too flippant with the footy. Defensive 50.
Shallow throw in. Witz wins it down to Rowley. Curls onto his left-hand side. Kicks towards King and Rogers. Rogers gets rid of McGrath. Hand pass to Holman on his left. This is the classy shot and a great finish. Nick Holman with one from the top shelf. And the Suns really create something out of nothing to open up a 6-point advantage once more. They kicked the opening 2 goals to get out by 13 points, and it's been an arm wrestle since the 7-minute mark of the opening term. 4-2-26 the Suns to the Bombers, 3-2-20.
It was Rowell again at the clearance. He's been the one at the moment for the Suns, leading the way.
He's had 3 clearances.
Yeah, he's been superb. Jakey Rogers involved again, just been able to compete, bring the ball to ground. You know, he's going to be a terrific long-term player, they hope, for the Suns. Just winning a one-on-one contest, flicking the handball out. And just get the sense, remember, that even with selection this week, I mean, Nick Holman's the sort of player that Damien Hardwick would love. You know what you're going to get from him week in, week out. It's almost as if Damien said, righto, we've got an eye to next year already. We're going to pick blokes who have a crack, who every contest we know we're going to get. And he's certainly one of those.
Back in the middle, Witz wins the tap. Davies had a fumble. Rao goes in again, picks it up cleanly, stripped of it by Parrish. Umpire calls play on. Suns still come up with it. Anderson scrubs a kick forward, a bouncing ball inside forward 50 over the head of Long. Cox slipped over, allowed McAndrew to swoop on it. Right foot snap as he was tackled. He's sprayed out of bounds on the full free kick to the Bombers in the left back pocket. Suns by 6 points as we've taken the time on of the opening quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Bit of a watch, Ram. I'm not sure I understand the McAndrew forward experiment, if we want to call it that.
And I'm a bit the same with the Nick Cox experiment back.
Mackay up to Caddy, can't complete the mark. Alwyn Davey Jr., little toe poke as he races after it. He competes against 2, Lemons and Closey. Closey's hand pass towards Weller, hard against the boundary line. Sam Durham sees it out of play for a throw-in.
Well, the McAndrew one, he looks so comfortable as a defender. Like, I can still remember the game against Carlton here when he played on Charlie Curnow and did a terrific job on him. He just seems like a natural defender, reads the play well, jumps at the ball, knows when to mark, knows when to spoil.
Adam Ramanaskas with you on ABC Sport as Witz slaps it down towards the boundary line. Rao couldn't gather it but does lay the tackle on Caldwell. Spills out Parrish's way. Hand pass to Brian. Asks Caldwell to put himself on the line. Didn't, and Lemons pinches it. Can't hang on to it though. Sam Durham takes it back for the Bombers. Hand pass looking for Caldwell. He's tackled in a ferocious effort. Great work by Rogers. The ball spills clear. Rao tries to break out of the stoppage. Eventually it comes out the way of Weller. Hand pass to Closey.
Kicks up towards half forward and Long is on the lead. Between wing and half forward on the city side of Docklands. Suns by 6 points. Long call to play on. He'll bomb it inside forward 50. Anderson's the target and one-on-one against Merritt. Spills down to Parrish. Hand passes to Roberts. Finds some space. In a 1-2 with Cox, and now they've broken it up. Merritt, though, swoops on it. Gives it to Caldwell. Now to Durham inside the centre square. Kicks up towards half forward to Gresham on a long lead. Great kick as well. He's marked it left half forward. 2 kicks from goal.
He is out onto the right-hand side. Inside 50. Draper caught behind and Collins in front. He was held if he didn't do enough to hang on to the mark. And the ever-reliable Gold Coast Suns defender wins another battle. He looks up to right half-back. He has options on the outlet, and the mark is taken by Closey at right half-back. The Suns 4-2-26 to the Bombers 3-2-20. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Turns and comes inboard to Butterick. Has it at right half back. Kicks around the city wing in the direction of Walter, who races up. Can't take the mark. Parrish at the back. Takes it in front of Ben Mackay. Cuts back on his right. Kicks it up, but under. Kick to Gresham. Big fly. Closey. Flying on his back. Comes down with a mark. There's one for the poster as he turns and comes inboard and finds Weller.
A lovely sit from Closey. Well up. He's marked on the logo city side of the ground. Will wind up and bomb it to a pack inside forward 50. Playing in front, Laverty knocked away by Mac Andrew. Playing defence up forward. Spills to Merritt. Hacks it out of the danger zone. A bouncing ball towards the wing. Butterick against Gresham. Butterick taps it forward to Closey. Hand passes over his head to Holman under pressure. Hand passes backwards to Butterick and now to Rowell. He's got some space at right half forward. From 50 out, sends it to the goal square. It's off hands. Chasing after it is Sexton. Gets on the right, hooks it around the corner and misses. 4 are behind. Suns by 7. 4-3-27. Essendon 3-2-20. 23 gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
He's been playing a lot of footy forward, Alex Sexton. Has he? A sense a couple of years ago when he was a real sharpshooter, he might have kicked that one. Good pressure here from the Suns.
6 points the way of the Demons at the MCG. 2-3-15 to Port Adelaide 1-3-9. There is an ABC call available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button. As Nick Cox across halfback. Kicks to Darcy Parrish. He looks to kick laterally out to left half forward. Back with the flight. Kelly couldn't hang on. He does win a free kick though. Against Nick Holman. Back with the flight. So Jake Kelly back onto the field. Kicks to Draper, who's on a long lead. He's sliding on his knees, marks. He's still 2 kicks out from goal, though. Caddy leads to the pocket. That's ignored. More central in the direction of Harry Jones, who flies uncontested in the end. Wicks had his eyes on Brian, and Harry Jones just came flying from the back.
Well, it's poor by Gold Coast because Harry Jones has been doing this now for the last month, where he floats forward from his wing and he has a run and jump at the ball. So I'm not sure who his direct opponent is. We'll find that out if he does kick the ball and go back to his wing, but just got to have body contact on Jones there, so to not allow him to fly for the football.
Pick 30 in 2019, playing in his 50th game tonight. Harry Jones from directly in front, 25 metres out to close the gap once more for the Bombers. He sends it through in his milestone match. He has been a goal scorer since he's been moved onto the wing as well. Goals in 13 matches. And the Suns lead is cut to a point. 4-3-27 to the Bombers, 4-2-26. Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Ball with you on ABC Sport.
Wow, yeah, whoever.
Alex Sexton.
It is Sexton. Who
really got one at the other end.
One of Sexton and Will Powell, I think it was. They just stood back and watched, really. You look at it here. Yeah, one of them had to go, which was wrestling with his opposition ruckman. But Sexton, that's your opponent. You've got to go there, and he's really nowhere near it. So it's pretty disappointing stuff. It's been a good move, though. I think Jones up to the wing, hasn't it? I think Caddy coming into the team has allowed for that to happen, and he's really used his athleticism. He's got back to support his defence. And
he's kicked goals now in 5 in his last 6 balls, so it seems to have freed him up at least from the physicality of playing as a key forward.
That's right, yeah, and just his natural forward craft's allowed him to drift forward and hit the scoreboard as well.
From the restart, Witts palms it down. Shield picks it up, tackled immediately by Rowell. We'll have another ball up inside the centre square. Suns by a point as we close into quarter time. Jess Webster and Matt Clinch calling the action for you. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts, and Rory Campbell on the boundary. Umpire tosses it in the air. Rowell coughs it up to Parrish, who's coughed it up to Flanders. Hand pass off to Anderson from the centre square. Kicks it into the pocket. It's got too much on it for Mac Andrew, who sees it over the line. A throw in 40 metres around from the Suns' goal. They lead it by a point.
Goal for Port Adelaide and scores a level at the MCG. 2-3-15 apiece. Opening quarter action there. Gold Coast Suns by a point here, closing in on quarter time. Throw in Witts and Bryant. Witts tries to palm it down, but it's Parrish who read it best. Kicks the ball end over end in the middle of the ground. Gresham knocks it forward. Underneath the Jones. Quick release to Caddy. Trying to get it to Gresham, but sliding in Butterick gathers for the Suns. Hard against the boundary. Kicks looking for Rogers. It clears him and McGrath. It bounces away from Witts. Bryan tried to use his body and a topo by Rogers. How will the umpires see this? Throw it in. The same umpires as the SCG last night.
Wasn't that a debacle in that last quarter particularly?
Chaos, I think, was the word used to describe that by
maybe Craig McRae was right.
Suns by a point. The umpire spins the ball back in a play at half forward for the Suns. Wicks I said that again. Witts palms it down. Mac Andrew gathers and is tackled to the ground. Got a stoppage 40 metres out from the Suns' goal. I'll get it by the end of the game. He's only been playing for a number of years for the Suns. Parrish, his hand pass, coughed up by Andrew. Gives it off to Graham at half forward for the Suns. Under pressure, Menzies did well. Hand pass over his head to Caddy and now to Kelly and off to Mason Redmond at left half back.
He looks out and tries to put it to the run of Roberts, who didn't have to break stride. He marks between wing and half forward on the City side. But they do have a loose in defence. Powell waiting for that kick. So has to turn and come inboard to Jake Kelly. It's the hand pass back to Redmond. He'll be careful with his ball movement this time. All the way back to centre half, back to Cox. The Bombers fans a little restless as they switch from one side to the other. Out to Harry Jones. In a wrestle with Sexton. Jones brings it down and knocks it to McGrath. Back to Jones. Gives it to McGrath. Blocks the pass forward. Good work by the key forward. Come Wingman. He kicks up towards half forward. Menzies taken out of it. No free kick, says the umpire, as Weller takes them up. Menzies just lost his footing. And Weller kicks up to Rowell at left half back. The Suns by a point.
4-3 plays 4-2. As we close in on quarter time here at Docklands. Bombers looking to regain their place in the top 8. Suns are playing for pride as Rowell bombs it long down the line, and it's been intercepted by Durham, who spears it to half forward. Martin in a 1-on-1 against Rowell. Ball spills to ground. Rowell picks it up, tackled by Martin, and now gives it to Weller in a 1-2 with Sexton. Weller scoots away from half back, sends it down the line. A good 1-on-1 battle between Humphrey and Redmond. Redmond wins out and then kicks laterally to Shield, who's marked defensive side of the wing.
Having a look, quarter time at the MCG. Port Adelaide just pinched the lead at quarter time there as Brian kicks out towards Harry Jones on the bounce. Chips it over the top to Parrish, who marks it right half forward for the Bombers. He looks inside 50, puts it on the head of Stringer and Lemons. It gets to the back. Gresham gives it back to Stringer outside of the boot. He misses. And it just bounces inside the field of play up against the right behind post.
So that kick had to hit from Darcy Parrish there. Stringer made the move, got the gap on his opponent there in Will Powell, and just had to hit that target.
Bombers deep inside their attacking 50. Draper and Witts. Draper wins down the tap. Menzies on the move. Couldn't take it cleanly. Yulin's in there. Stringer lays the tackle. And with support of Gresham, locks the ball up. I spoke to Jake Stringer post-game last week. Asked him about the final play. He said, I thought I was on the lead. Thankfully, Sammy Durham kicked the behind that eventually proved the winner.
Ball up 40 from the Bombers' goal. Draper with a big tap down towards the boundary line. Lemons collects, tackled by Merritt, and Lemons, he had the boundary line in his mind as he passed over the line. The umpire says toss it back in, 50 out from Essendon's goal. The late change for the Suns. Lemons came into the side for Lloyd Johnson, the subs tonight. David Swallow for the Suns and Ben Hobbs for the Bombers as the umpire spins the ball back into play. And shallow throw in. Picked up by Stringer, who fends off Anderson, runs to 40. Didn't quite make the connection he would have liked on the kick. Sprays it out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Gold Coast in the right back pocket as Collins chips short and finds Anderson.
The Bombers have drawn level on a couple of occasions in this opening quarter, but haven't managed to take the lead so far.
Looks threatening, Jake Stringer. His opponent now is Sean Lemons. So I don't know if that's the right matchup for Stringer.
Collins up the wing and lands in front of Ben Mackay and Ben King. Mackay was taken high and will win a free kick. He also said Jake Stringer, a few of the midfielders asked him if he wanted to come into the centre square and said, no, Brad had told me he wants me to play forward last week. So played out of the goal square, kicked 4 goals. There's the kick inside 50 in the direction of Draper for the Bombers. Can't take the mark. Caddy's there as well. Powell, in fact, it's Lemons who's brought down by Gresham, and a ball up 35 metres out from the Bombers' goal. The Suns leading by a point.
Yeah, they've dominated the last 5 minutes of this quarter, though, the Bombers. Suns just got to hang on here. Last minute, not concede a score.
Brian taps it down to Caddy. Nice spin move. Hand passes to space. Durham one way. Flanders the other. Ball spills loose. And interesting tackle, I think, from Cox there over the top of Graham. And it's a free kick for too high. It was Jones, in fact, who gave away the free kick to Will Graham inside defensive 50 for the Suns. Only seconds left in this opening term. Graham bombs it long to the wing. Andrew in the contest, couldn't bring it down. Anderson picks it up, gives it to Rogers. Hand passes defensively to Sexton. They're under pressure, the Suns, to Butterick, and saved by the bell. quarter time here at Docklands, and an entertaining opening quarter on Saturday night footy. The Gold Coast by a point, 4-3-27 to Essendon, 4-2-26. Your goal kickers for Essendon, all singles: Harry Jones, Jake Stringer, Nate Caddy and Jai Menzies. And for the Suns, two to Ben King and one Nick Holman and Sam Flanders.
Meanwhile, at the MCG, it's Port Adelaide who lead by a point over Melbourne. After the Demons started promisingly, the Power 2-4-16 to Melbourne 2-3-15. If you want to get in touch with us, the SMS number straight to the commentary box, 0437 774 774. If you've got a thought or observation, Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Ball here for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Hey Google, play the footy on the ABC. Did you know you can now listen to the footy on your smart speaker?
Oh, that is amazing!
Play ABC AFL.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Get the best call, the biggest experts in the game, every round of the AFL season.
Can he bend it back? You bet he can!
On your favourite station, ABC Radio. Your home for footy. Now on your smart speaker. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Mac Andrew has started forward once more. Wheels onto his right-hand side in the direction of Ben King. In a wrestle with Harry Mackay. Splits down to the front. Long with a hand pass away. Flanders on the right boot for the opening goal of the match. Inside a minute. The Gold Coast Suns are on the board. Round the back, Shield gives it back to Redmond, turns it straight over, and Anderson might make them pay. He looks up and has Long between the arcs and right half forward, racing towards the goal mouth is Ben King. It's a beautiful kick. He marks and waltzes in for his second.
Butterick goes in again for the Suns, tackled by Langford, brought to ground, umpire calls play on. Ball is coughed up, Davies swoops on it for the Bombers, a neat little kick into space, and Stringer's mark 48 out from home. He crosses the pain of 50, shoots towards goal, absolutely flawless.
Wins it down to Rowley, curls onto his left-hand side, kicks towards King and Rogers. Rogers gets rid of McGrath, hand pass to Holman on his left, this is the classy shot, and a great finish. Nick Holman with one from the top shelf.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
A high-scoring opening term where the Gold Coast Suns have their noses in front by a point. 4-3-27 to the Bombers, 4-2-26. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Jess Webster calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. The thoughts of Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Ball on ABC Sport.
Well, Bally, look, it's a good game of football. 8 goals in a quarter for both teams is a really good game. But what I think, though, both teams are doing, they're over handballing. And what that's doing then is inviting pressure. So Essendon had the 21 tackles in that quarter, and the Suns only had the 12. So if that trend continues, Essendon will continue to stick those tackles, the ball turns over and goes down the other end. So I think the Suns have got to start to kick the ball more, along with Essendon. They've got to start to kick the ball more, particularly here at the Docklands. When you get into a handball game here, you invite pressure, turnover, ball goes down the other end, and either team scores quite quickly. So that's, I think, one area that both teams will be talking about. The Suns, early in that first quarter, it was 5-1 centre square. So they were getting dominated out of there. So they shifted that to 5-3 in the end. Matt Rowell was terrific that quarter. He had the 10 possessions, 9 of those contested, 4 clearances. Darcy Parish for Essendon had 5 kicks and 10 handballs for 15 possessions in that quarter. So it's sort of a bit at the moment. So Merritt's had 9, Nick Martin's had 8, Clohessie's had 10, Weller's had 9. So it's a bit of sort of, I'll go my way, you go your way at the minute. Right. So I think both midfields need to be a little bit more accountable towards each other in this second quarter.
Yeah, it's not hurting anyone at the moment, but it's a watch for mine, especially with this, with the Bombers, of the Bombers, particularly with Merritt. I mean, Parish is going to get lots of ball, as we know. But I think the contest work from the Suns has been good, led by Rowell. Rowell's been super, no doubt about that. The tackle's an interesting stat. Just as that quarter went on, I felt like the Bombers were able to work their way through pressure a little bit better, and in the end probably just didn't capitalise on some forward 50 entry. I spoke throughout that quarter about them looking pretty dynamic ahead of the ball. I mean, Stringer looks dangerous, doesn't he? He's had a few opportunities, hasn't really hit the scoreboard other than that set shot goal. Davies down there, Gresham's down there, and Menzies down there with Caddy as well. So they've gone for a bit more of a mid-sized, dynamic style of forward line. the Suns are really still relying on that contest work, aren't they? And you're right. I mean, they've got the targets forward, so get it down there. Get the ball forward. If you're going to play McAndrew forward, try and dominate it. Try and have an aerial presence, I think. I'm still not convinced about that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him shifted back at some stage. It's a challenge for a young player who's played the whole year across half-back with a game in front of him to then go forward, particularly with the way that the Suns have moved the ball forward as well at times. Well, this year it's been a real challenge for them. So, but they have the targets down there. We know King's down there. Walters is struggling to get into the game a little bit. Let's get the ball down there. Give him an opportunity to compete one-on-one, which he does so well.
I mentioned this earlier in the quarter ball. The only thing that really the Suns are doing is Flanders starts at half forward. He then spits up into the contest to create another midfielder. Mason Redmond then sits off the back and plays as the spare. Early doors, that was working really well for Gold Coast. But what Essendon did, they brought one of their half forwards up to the contest to match up on Flanders. So that worked well for both teams, I thought. Gold Coast early, then Essendon, once they rounded him up, it worked well for them. But other than that, there's not too much more really going on out there in terms of, this team's trying to do that.
Yeah, it's head-to-head in the middle of the ground, isn't it? Interesting now that McGrath, so you're right, Flanders playing that role, that sort of that half-forward role that basically plays as an extra mid in general play. Andrew McGrath goes to him now.
Which is almost
as if Brad Cost said, okay, if you want to go up there, we're going to put a player who's played midfield and can damage as well forward, centre forward.
Redmond was getting lost early.
Yep.
Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sports. Second quarter underway. Brian wins down the tap. Gets it to Durham. The kick inside 50. Stringer got rid of Ballard. Can't take the mark though. Collins overran the footy. A chance for Draper. He goes sliding over in the end over end as well. Slaps the turf in frustration.
It's really interesting, the Stringer matchup. It's been Ballard. It's been Lemons. It's been Will Powell. It's been Hewland. So they can't quite get the matchup that they want for Jake Stringer just yet.
Yeah, I think Hewland's probably the one, although he's got his hands full with Kyle Langford. So, yeah, that's why Stringer looks like he might get off the leash a bit.
Left forward pocket for the Bombers. Witts wins down the tap. The Suns leading by a point. No chance for Humphrey to break clear. He's locked up at left half forward for the Bombers.
Witts and Brian tangle in ruck. Witts down to Anderson and passes to Holman and then gives it to Flanders from right half back for Gold Coast. Looping hand pass over the top to Witts, who gives it back to Flanders. Hugged up against the boundary line. Kicks down the line. Long was he pushed out of it. Umpire called play on. It gets out the back to Andrew. Slips a McGrath tackle, then kicks inside forward 50 for Gold Coast. Over the head of Rogers in a one-on-one with Kelly. Rogers collects. Tackle by Kelly. Hand passes out to Closey. Gets around Jones, then kicks it in the Andrew direction. Knocked away from him. McGrath collects for Essendon and gives it to Laverty and then hand passes backwards to Cox in the last line of defence.
Oh, Strubby kick out of defence. Never got to Zach Merritt. Holman slides in. Gathers hard against the boundary. Kick is smothered by Merritt. Good recovery. Ben King gathers. Cox lays the tackle. Is that holding the ball? No, play on's the call. And the umpire will eventually ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Suns.
Letting it go a bit tonight, aren't they?
Certainly are. Gold Coast Suns leading by a point. They have it in their attacking 50. Witts and Bryan. It spills down the way of Long. He fists it towards the goal mouth. Mac Andrews tries to knock it back to Long. He bounces into Merritt. Can't get a disposal away. Laverty for the Bombers. Hand pass to Cox to Ben Mackay. Links up with Andy McGrath. Looking for outlet. He kicks up towards half-back. Menzie. Good clean pick up in front of Weller. Hand pass to Shield. Tries to get it back to Menzie. Has Caldwell running shotgun with him. Hand pass around Hewland. They're out on the city wing. He runs to right half forward. Hand pass to Harry Jones. Looks up inside 50. Stringer on the lead. Ballard makes the spoil. With good support getting back Powell. He gets a fist in there and the ball goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Bombers. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Just an injury update, guys. Darcy Parish had a bit of a chin wag with the doctor and the physios at quarter time. He was sort of pointing to his left lower leg. He had some treatment from the physio, but he started on the bench, but he looks to be okay.
Suns by a point. Umpire spins the ball back into play. Hewland just got rid of it in the nick of time, but straight to Stringer, gives it to Caldwell. A bouncing kick towards goal has somehow gone through. He's kicked that from the boundary. That's an incredible finish. And Essendon hit the front. They lead by 5. 5-2-32. Gold Coast 4-3-27. 3 minutes travelled. Second term Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, it should have been a free kick to start with because it was incorrect disposal with Hewland there. He threw the ball up in the air and then handball. I'm not sure how the umpires miss the obvious. That's the ones I think that really frustrate the players. So, hey, just call the obvious ones, and we're happy with it. But then Caldwell there, Bruin, he gets a good, nice bounce in the goal square to finish that.
All of a sudden, they've kicked 3 of the last 4 goals of the match, the Bombers, having overcome a slow start with the Suns booting the opening 2 goals. At the MCG, it's the Power who lead by 3 points, 3-6-24 to Melbourne 3-3-21.
Top 3 in the best and fairest, Caldwell, do you think, Rabbit, this year?
He'll be close, definitely top 5.
Yeah, good year.
Back in the middle, Brian wins down the tap. Here's Caldwell on cue. In fact, it was Durham who was charged into, and Davies lays the tackle holding the ball.
Can't take advantage, then put your hand up and say you don't want advantage anymore.
Alex Davies takes the free kick. Inside 50, Ben King's out number 2 on 1. Laverty dropped the mark though. Redmond tries to knock it back to Laverty's. Through traffic, Holman. Hand pass to Humphreys, to Rowell. He retreats back by hand. Flanders backpedaling. Cuts back on his left-hand side. Chips it towards Davies. Good spoil by Langford. Into the forward pocket for the Suns. Redmond hit it with speed. Was taken high. As Holman tried to put the pressure on. A relieving free kick for the Bombers in the left back pocket. Bombers lead by 5 points. Here's Jess Webster.
So Redmond chip short to Merritt at left half back. First time the Bombers have been in front tonight thanks to that Caldwell goal a couple of moments ago. Merritt bombs it long down the line. Draper the target knocked away from him by Collins. It spills to Shield. He hand passes to Bryan. Looks inboard for Draper. Has a bounce at 50 metres out there. Shoots towards goal. Something special from Sammy Draper. And that's got the crowd on their feet here at Docklands. Essendon out to an 11-point lead, 6-2-38. Gold Coast 4-3-27. 5 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas as Sammy Draper comes to the bench to warm applause from his fans.
If he's one thing, Sammy Draper, he's confident. So there's not many ruckmen that will get the handball, take a bounce with somebody just right on your backside.
Yeah, look too. It was Powell, it was quick.
And then he kicks it from outside 50.
I'll tell you what it was. Terrific hands there from Nick Bryan, his fellow ruckman there, to pick it up, snapped it up at his heels and handballed it off. And Sammy Draper, he just flushed it, didn't he? I'm not sure. If you said go and do that 10 times, what would you give him? I'll give him 2 out of 10.
although I reckon his goal the contender was against the Gold Coast Suns.
It was at the other end. A little bit closer than that, though.
Yes, out of the middle of the ground. Bryans is able to get the clearance. He toe pokes it to half forward. Langford can't take it cleanly. Shield is onto it. High ball inside 50 underneath it. Caddy. Yulin made body contact. It clears to the back. Butterick has to deal with it. Hand pass to Yulin. Hard against the boundary. Hand pass to Closey. Just arches the back to get a kick up towards the wing, and Rogers in front. Takes the mark at left half back. So the Bombers with a couple of quick goals in this second quarter lead by 11 points. As he turns and comes inboard to Yulin. Down low, a lunging effort. Just pulling in the mark, Powell, as he'll give it around the back to Yulin once more.
From centre half back, goes straight down the middle. Playing in front though is Laverty, takes the mark and then takes off. Inside the centre square, hand pass over the top to Langford, just forward of halfway. Shoots the kick to half forward, it's a good one. Finds Gresham, 50 metres out from goal, wheels around on the right, sends it to the goal square. One-on-one battle, Caddy couldn't complete the mark. Menzie tried to follow up, couldn't make connection with his boot. It's rushed over the line by Lemons.
They should have 3, John Menzie.
Yeah.
He's kicked 1.
Essendon.
Now, sorry, Jesse's missed 2 really easy ones.
Essendon by 12, 6-3-39. Gold Coast 4-3-27. 7 minutes gone. Second term on ABC Sport.
Suns bring the ball back into play through Weller. Kicks out towards Yulin, who marks it right half back.
Instead of taking a bit of the steam out of the game here, the Suns.
The Bombers having their moment.
They are, they've got their tail up. And Brody Yulin playing on and kicking and hoping that prior play wasn't the option. Got away with one.
Kicked 5 goals to 2 against Freo, the Bombers. In the final term, they can get hot. Sexton on the wing for the Suns. Kicks up towards Long, trying to use his body against Laverty. He keeps it alive, hard against the boundary. A centering kick. McAndrew sets himself. Great work from Ben Long. Get the ball alive. And McAndrew did the rest in the air.
He's been good long, hasn't he? He's not a high position player, but he does have an impact on the game.
He's desperate. He's desperate inside their forward 50 for the Suns, and he's done it all year, really. So, but there, Laverty's got to kill that ball over the line for a throw-in. But credit to Ben Long, kept the ball alive and disciplined. Takes the ball back to the centre of the ground, inside their forward 50, and Andrews should convert here.
3 goals last week against the West Coast Eagles, and his trial role as a forward. McAndrew comes in and gets one back for the Gold Coast Suns. A much-needed goal after the Bombers had put on the opening 2 in the first 5 minutes of the second quarter. The margin is back to 6 the Bombers' way. 6-3-39 to the Suns, 5-3-33. 9 minutes gone second quarter. Meanwhile, at the MCG, it's still the Power who hold a 3-point advantage. 3-6-24 to the Demons, 3-3-21.
Well, it's his first real impact on the game, McAndrew, isn't it, playing forward? But really, yeah, that's right, Ben Long. That was just a terrific one-on-one win. Jaden Averde, who's outmarked him a couple of times, must be said, in that first quarter, was able to bring the ball to ground. And then you're right, a disciplined kick back to the top of the goal square, and McAndrew was there and read it well. And now he's having a bit of a run in the ruck, Mac, so they're throwing him around a little bit to see where he can have maximum impact on the game.
Let's see what he can do here at the centre circle bounce, opposed to Brian in the ruck. Brian nearly takes possession, has a fumble. Andrew's there for the Suns, feeds it out to Davies, couldn't take it cleanly. Merritt all the way over him. Davies goes in again, and hand pass is picked off by Cox, stripped to the footy by Flanders. Holding the ball is the call. Flanders to take the free kick just forward of halfway inside the centre square. Essendon lead by 6 points after the Suns led by a point at quarter time. Flanders kick inside forward 50, ill-directed, and Jones takes the intercepting grab for the Bombers.
Really poor. Just got to read that. Had 2-on-2 ahead of the ball. Ben King just screaming to kick it to space there. Too slow, and then poor execution from Sam Flanders.
Lead ball with you on ABC Sport as Nick Martin bounds out of defence, kicks up towards Menzies. Evans might have got away with one as he had his back to the footy initially, makes the spoil, and the ball goes out of play.
Certainly got away with one.
A late inclusion for Lloyd Johnston, who came out of the selected side for the Suns. The subs, David Swallow and Ben Hobbs. After Jack Lukosius has dropped, what did you make of that, Rammer? Can't find a position for him. Draper just hacks it out of the air towards the boundary. How will the umpire view this? Throw it in.
Well, I just think Damien Hardwick's after effort. And clearly Lukosius is not providing that, probably over a number of weeks. I don't think it's a one-week thing with Lukosius, and Damien Hardwick's made the statement.
Is he a forward or a defender, do you think?
Forward.
I don't think it really matters. I just think he wants effort from him.
Closey, hand pass to Rowell on the wing, bit slick for Wellers, he loses it through the Davey pressure. Graham cleans it up, hand pass to Walter, around the broadcast wing, gets the hand pass to Noah Anderson, now to Flanders, inside 50, Andrew on the lead, can't hang on, it's charging back Laverty, Cannon to his teammate, great kick, a centering pass in which Humphrey is able to just line up Ben King, who marks directly in front. 30 metres out from goal.
It's terrific stuff. That's the Suns at their best, isn't it? Yeah, and all their good players involved there. Good quick hands here on the wing. Noah Anderson, Flanders making up for that last poor inside 50 entry there, and young Bailey Humphrey, who's hasn't really come on as much as they would have liked this year, but that was a nice bit of vision there to lower his eyes and hit Ben King.
32 in the first quarter. Ben King for his third, and a wrestle back the margin for the Gold Coast Suns, and we're locked once more in this intriguing tussle under the roof of Docklands. 6-3-39 apiece through 12 minutes of the second quarter. Ben King with his third. Meanwhile, at the MCG, the Demons back in front. 4-3-27 to Port Adelaide. 3-6-24. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskas with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, and Nick Cox has taken a big hit. He looks short, making his way to the bench very, very slowly here. So I'm sure they're going to check him out for concussion and see how that goes. But yeah, Ballie's right. That was absolutely the Gold Coast at their best with their ball movement. It didn't look like much in terms of a head knock.
Was it a head knock, or I'll have to have another look at that? But he's in a fair bit of trouble, Nick Cox.
Gone down? No, he's
wouldn't have walked off the ground any slower.
Having a chat to the doctors on the bench. We'll get an update from Rory Campbell shortly. Meanwhile, back in the middle we go. Durham races away with the footy, sends it inside forward 50. That's a great mark taken by Powell, who then shoots it towards Andrew at centre half back, and then hand pass releases Yulin from the edge of the centre square, thumps it to half forward, long out on a lead, slips through his fingers. Laverty out the back for the Bombers, shares it with Martin into Mackay, didn't know it was coming. Picked up by Long, gives it to Rouse. Suns go inside forward 50. Kick over the head of Walter. Redmond out the back for the Bombers. Hand pass into the path of Durham, but he's got company. Durham has to turn tackler on Graham, who spun and brought to ground. The umpire calls for a ball up at left half forward for Gold Coast. Scores a level here at Docklands on ABC Sport.
Just had a bit too much pop on the kick. Rao didn't it to Jed Walter. Had plenty of separation. It's been a good effort this by the Suns. It felt like the Bombers had all the momentum in the first 10 minutes.
Walter and Draper. Walter, the only player who didn't get a disposal in the opening quarter, and a free kick, no, a ball up.
It's just the one area of Rao's game. Like, he does everything, the hard stuff so well. Just that finishing.
Walter tried to take it to the ruck. Jones was able to gather. Hand pass to Parrish. Kicks into the middle of the ground. It spills out away from Lemons. He has another go at it. Diving on the footy in front of Nick Martin. Gets the hand pass to Graham. Around his body inside 50. Long tries to protect the space in front. Redmond makes the spoil. Andrew comes charging out. Little toe poke from Long towards the goal mouth. It won't get there. Redmond wants to rush it. And Flanders puts the pressure on as he's able to backpedal across the behind line. It's enough to give the Suns the lead by that point. At the 14-minute mark of the second quarter, Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Nick Cox has been having a lengthy chat with the Docs here. He sort of made a slight indication to the front right-hand side of his head. The Docs have gone back and had a look at some vision. They're having another chat with him now. He looks pretty pale and still pretty groggy.
Thanks, Rory. Is from the kick in, the Bombers chip towards the back pocket. Jones sends a long kick down the line. Draper takes a one-on-one grab.
Gold Coast have also put the brakes on Darcy Parish. He's only had the one possession this quarter.
Draper hands it off to Redmond from right half back. Spear and kick down the line finds Caddy. He's marked defensive side of the wing. Will bomb it long to a pack at half forward. Collins read that best and wins the battle against Langford. Takes the intercepting grab for the Suns at left half back. They lead by a point. 15 played, second term on ABC Sport.
Collins kicks out towards left half back where Eulens takes the mark. He's looking for options in the corridor on the 45, but nothing really eventuates. So bangs it as far as he can up the wing. McAndrew will have to fly against Harry Jones. Spoils it down to the front. Graham tries to knock it on to Walter. Gets a hand pass forward. Trying to get it to Humphrey. Going back with the flight. McGrath couldn't gather. Humphrey can. Hand pass to Graham. Drives it from 55 to King. One-on-one with Mackay. Clears both. And it may still stay in play. Holman gathers, although great effort. Roberts wraps him up and takes him over the boundary line for a throw-in. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
The Bombers have pulled the trigger on the sub. Nick Cox has gone down to the change rooms for some further assessment. Ben Hobbs is going through his warm-up now, so obviously the Bombers very concerned about Nick Cox there.
Not good news for the Bombers. Thanks, Rory. Umpire spins the ball back into play and it trickles back to the boundary line. We'll do it all again. Throw in 40 around from the Suns' goal. They lead by a point.
Damien Harbour giving Jed Walter a little run in the ruck here. I like that. It's good coaching. He was struggling to get his hands on the footy forward, get him around the ball.
As opposed to Draper, who wins the tap, but straight down to Closey from half forward. Kicks around the corner, the top of the square. And Humphrey collects and bangs it through for another for the Suns. It got out the back and Humphrey was in the right place at the right time. And the Suns extend their lead to 7 points. 7-4-46 plays Essendon, 6-3-39. 70 minutes travelled. Second term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas.
Yeah, it's been a good period. As I said, I felt like the Bombers had their tails up in that first 10 minutes of the quarter. The Suns have responded really well. And it's just been effort, really. It's just been... contest to contest work. We know that's a strength of theirs, and nothing pretty about that. Clahisi, I liked his game. What's he up to now? Yeah, he's at 14 possessions, leading all Suns players. Just banging the ball forward. It's amazing sometimes you make the running and make the play like that. The ball bounces into your lap, and Bailey Humphrey was in the right spot at the right time. So all of a sudden, it's the Bombers who need to respond now.
Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Just confirming what I think we all knew, guys. Nick Cox is being subbed out with concussion.
So Ben Hobbs into the action early in the second quarter, back in the middle of the ground. Following up his ruck work was Witz. He might have got Merritt in the back. And the Bombers will get the free kick. He was sprawled out by the time he eventually got into his back. Gets the hand pass away to Andy McGrath. Inside 50, big fly from Caddy. It clears to the back. Draper tries to do the body work against Collins. Spills out towards the boundary line, where eventually Holman runs it across.
Really put him into a 6-foot grave, Jared Witz.
Well, man, I'm not sure how intentional it was, as opposed to completely losing control.
That's the one. If you're going to give the free kick away,
Give it on,
give him all of your
Spot
115 kilos, don't
Spot
you?
on, Bully.
Shane Mumford make the murder.
Yep.
100th game as captain for Jared Witts tonight. Of course, no Toot Miller, who's still about another week away. As Durham runs into a dead end, Holman laid the tackle. He tried to fend him off and they lose the footy. It's gathered by Rao, kicks up towards Walter. In a wrestle, in front, it's brought down by Laverty. Long tries to bounce off his opponent, Kelly. Hand pass to Davies, Merritt got him. Run down from behind, holding the footy.
He just hunts Zach Merritt. That's such an underrated feature of his game, but he just hunts his opponent.
Kick sideways to Redmond, who kicks into the centre square and finds Menzies quick to release. Shield by hand. Just pulled the kick cleverly and found Caddy at right half forward. He marks uncontested, has a bounce, shoots towards goal for a 40, and that is all class from Nate Caddy. Margin back to a point. The Suns 7-4-46, Essendon 7-3-45. 19 travelled second term Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, good call, Rama. It's a big play, isn't it, from the captain? Just when the Suns were standing up there and you felt like, they were charging forward again. He sensed the moment, Zach Merritt, as he's so often done, well, this year, but in previous years as well. And brilliant run-down tackle. And then from there, the Suns didn't really see it. Nice bit of ball movement. Good vision from Dylan Shield to see Nate Caddy. And that is a sign of class, isn't it? Because it's not an easy shot on the run from your pocket there, Rama.
It's my pocket.
And he just took the responsibility, didn't he? Took a bounce, steadied, and went bang from 35. So good response from the Bombers, led by their skipper again.
The first-year Bomber, pick 10 in 2023.
He's had 8 possessions and 2 goals to the half. So it's a good return for the first-year forward.
One of 2 first-year players for the Bombers out there tonight alongside Archie Roberts. The Suns have 4 as they get another clearance, the Bombers. Brian involved, kicks up towards Caddy, can't pull in the mark against Balla, but he's first onto it. Hand pass to Langford, hemmed in against the boundary, turns back, chips it back to Brian. And that works at right half forward. He looks for the leads and Sammy Durham leads up. And takes the mark on a 45-degree angle, 45 metres out from goal. And
he's looked good as well, Nick Bryan. Yeah. It's only his 3rd game for the year and he's really taking his opportunities. So working in tandem with Sammy Draper tonight, but that's a terrific follow-up from your ruckman.
9 goals for the season for Sam Durham. Of course, the all-important point last week from a centre bounce clearance against the Fremantle Dockers. Out to the right. Looking to put the Bombers back in front this time. He comes in, leads back on it. A beautiful kick. Straight over the top for the goal umpire's hat. And the Essendon fans once more are waving their flags. The Bombers lead by 5. After the Suns put 3 goals on in quick succession. Essendon with the last 2 to lead by 5 points. 8-3-51 to the Suns 7-4-46. 21 minutes gone, second quarter. Meanwhile, it's the Demons by 3 points at the MCG. 4-5-29 to the Power. 3-8-26.
Well, speaking of great years, what a breakout year it's been from Sam Durham. And it was just centre bounce work. Dylan Shields having an impact on this game. He's been really clean around the clearance. And you're right, Nick Bryan, he's putting his hand up, hasn't he, here, Rama, for that. Well, it's not number 1 ruck roll, at least that 1-2 punch with Sam Draper. It's been pretty effective tonight. Great spread from that centre clearance. He was just too nimble for Big Witsy.
Third lead change of the night, all coming in this second quarter. Back in the middle, umpires found a free kick going the way of Gold Coast into Matt Rao for a hold. He takes off from the centre circles of Docklands, sends the Suns into attack, kick over the head of Andrew. Out the back is Martin, who just hacks it out of the danger zone. It might have been touched off the boot. It tracks towards the boundary line, over and out. We've got a throw in between wing and half forward. Suns in their attacking half of the ground. Essendon by 5 points. Time on second quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
The voice of Jess Webster alongside Matt Clinch, Rory Campbell on the boundary. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskas, your experts. 4-3 the way of the Bombers in this second quarter. Bryant and Witts. Witts wins down the tap and does the roving. Quick 1-2 with Noah Anderson. Back to Witts. High ball inside 50. Underneath it. Long can't take the mark against Kelly. Got it down to Humphrey. Just held on to by McGrath. Gets a hand pass to Davies. It's offline. He misses everything out of bounds on the fall to the right. A free kick for the Bombers and Ben Mackay will take it. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Simon says, Rama, I feel nervous with Essendon's defenders' ball use. You, question mark.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Mackay, long kick outside defensive 50. Jones the target, couldn't pull it in. It spills to Rowell, who keeps it alive, hugged up against the boundary line. A chaos ball towards full forward. Who can get on the end of this? Mackay has a go for the Bombers. They're under pressure. Hogs off to Durham, is chased down by Davies. Just got the hand pass out. The umpire called play on. Plenty of numbers around the footy. Witts dives in for the Suns. He's tackled by Caddy. Ball spills loose. Merritt swoops on it at half back for Essendon. Close up against the boundary line. Kicks down the line. The Suns have well set up here. Ballard will intercept it, and he kicks inboard to Rowell. He's marked on the logo dockside wing.
Rowell looks to come inboard to Anderson. He has to reel it in with the right arm.
The reality is that SMS from Simon, that's why Nick Martin plays at halfback, because they want a ball user. They want it in his hands, so they sacrifice what he can't do defensively.
Rowell up to 18 disposals. Anderson inside 50. Mark Andrew just got underneath it. And an easy mark for Ben Mackay. He chips it back for the Bombers to Martin to the last line of defence, and hand pass away to Andy McGrath, who takes 2 bounces and gets to right half-back. He's looking for options. Hand pass to Shield and back to McGrath. They transition at right half-back to Roberts and gives it back to McGrath. Where to now? Roberts onto his left-hand side, kicks up the wing. No one there really for the Bombers, and Butterick takes the mark for the Gold Coast Suns. The Bombers by 5 points.
Chips backwards to Weller at left half-back, who sends it all the way back inside defensive 50 to Sam Collins. He's all alone inside defensive 50. Flares the kick out wide to Sexton, who's marked at right half-back for the Gold Coast. Essendon by 5 points. Gold Coast led by a point at quarter time. Sexton down the line, Witts the target in a one-on-one. Turns spoiler in the end. Ball to be won on the wing. Picked up by Davies for the Suns. Hand pass over his head to no one in particular. Picked up by Graham, whose swooping hand pass is intercepted by Laverty at half-back for the Bombers. Gives it to Kelly. Kick looking for Merritt inside defensive 50. Collects on the bounce. And then they share it around half-back. Shield. Hand pass out wide to Durham. Close up against the boundary line. Hand pass is inboard to Kelly. Just got the hand pass out to Martin in the nick of time. Spears the pass to Sam Draper at half forward, and that's 50 metres. Davies encroached the mark, and this will put Sam Draper in range.
Yeah, it was the right call, because it was Caldwell who came around the back to get the handball. And rather than Davies going with him, he stood there. And then he sort of made out like he was standing on the mark, and the umpire picked it up straight away, because Draper's direct opponent was on the mark. So,
young player, just looking at it, you'd like to see a few of his teammates run over to him, Alex Davies. I mean, I love his effort, love his intensity, but just had a bit of a brain fade there.
Sam Draper kicked a great goal earlier in the quarter. This one a little less difficult from 15 metres out, directly in front, sneaks it home for his second. Essendon lead by 11, 9-3-57 to the Suns, 7-4-46. 26 played second term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskis.
Yeah, there's a bit of a wrestle broken out in the middle of the ground. I was watching that. It was Harrison Jones who, just for no reason whatsoever really, bumped Jared Witts from behind. Witts, he didn't like it. Fair enough too. He took umbrage and chased him down. It was a bit of a wrestle, but while that was going on, Sammy Draper kicks his second goal. Yeah, it's a coach killer, that one, isn't it? It just relieves pressure that's been really good this quarter for the Suns, from the Suns' point of view, and all of a sudden, the Bombers have got the momentum back. What do you go with there? The old double-barrel pistol, semi-Draper. It's a new one.
It is a new one.
Dursman's not out there. The bow and arrow's not out there, so I just thought, okay. Maybe an homage to the Olympics.
Yes, Damien Hardwick had his own reaction, slamming the desk with his right fist. It's back in the middle of the ground. Anderson gets the clearance to the Suns. Inside 50, Mac Andrew can't take the mark. Roberts getting back to support Laverty, but it's Ben Mackay who gathers. Hand pass to Roberts, to Laverty. They've gone nowhere. In the back pocket, Redmond. On the bounce, the kick to Kelly. Has to fire a hand pass over the top. Gets it to Nick Martin. Walter offers chase. Martin kicks up towards Hobbs. Can't take the mark. Spoiled down by Powell. Martin kept running. He gathers to the Bombers. The blazes away. Stringer needs to make a contest here against Ballard. He did so. Davies gathers. Hand pass to Ballard. To Yulin across half-back. Beautiful off-balance kick. And finds Closey at right half-back.
That was terrific by Davies. So he made the mistake with the 50-metre penalty.
Put his head over it.
First option of a hard ball, he goes and wins it.
Yeah.
Closey on board to Weller, who bombs it long down the line. Now presenting is Walter at right half forward for the Suns. Essendon by 11. They kick the last 3 of the game. Suns with the last 3 before that. Walter sends them inside forward 50, and it's an ill-directed kick. He was looking for Ben King. There was 3 Bombers around him.
Well,
Laverty takes the intercepting grab.
Yeah, it's a poor kick, Jess, but Ben King, you'd love him to come at the footy there, demand the footy there. Well done, Jaden Laverty. Just played in front and read the errant kick, but it's where Ben King, it's where you need your big key forward to be a big key forward.
Presence.
Recognise the moment in the game, and if nothing else, don't get outmarked.
Laverty to Nick Martin, tries to kick towards Draper, in from the side, Closey charging in, Davies gave away the free kick in the back, and Caldwell will take it at left half back for the Bombers.
Central quarter for Alex Davies, everything,
he's
isn't
been
he?
involved in everything. Inboard to Redmond, hand pass to Martin, almost brought down by Graham, might have forced the turnover anyway. Flanders, they're all out of position, the Bombers. Hand pass inboard to Anderson, he steadies from 40, high kick, no, misses to the right hand side. Just trying to ride it, the right side of the right goalpost, but can't do so. And Essendon lead by 10 points, 29 minutes gone. Second quarter on ABC Sport.
Well, who was that caller? Well, that texter in. Remember, I think this is what he's talking about.
Yes, Simon.
It's just you invite pressure with handball in your back half. So it's simple. Like use your kicking ability out of the back half.
Redmond a couple of bounces from the kick in and then ships short to Caldwell at right half back. Redmond kept running and receives the handball, runs the boundary line. Couple of bounces running away from McAndrews. Run to the wing, Redmond. Sends a high kick towards half forward. Ulan with a big fist for the Suns. Sends it towards the boundary line, but it doesn't get there. Stringer, it does get there in the end. Stringer did collect and kick towards the top of the goal square, but the ball was already out. So we'll have a ball in 35 around from the Bombers' goal. They lead by 10 points. As we tick into the half-hour mark, second term on ABC Sport.
That's terrific stuff from Mason Redmond, isn't it?
Take the game on.
Yeah,
That's
really,
fine.
really good stuff.
So you don't handball. Take the game on. If you get caught, you can handle that. But if you turn the ball over in the back half through handball, a coach can't handle that.
Only touched the ball one time, Jake Stringer, in this second quarter. 4 for the match. Playing predominantly as a key forward. Draper wins down the tap through traffic, trying to knock it out. Chance in the end for Hobbs, but it's locked underneath a couple of players, and eventually Cole Langford is the last to rise. Thrown up. Bryans and Witts. Witts wins down the tap. Knocked on in the end by Powell, but straight to Jones. Inside 50, Stringer in the right forward pocket. Screws it back to the teeth of goal. Caddy can't get a fly at it. Powell had good support. He takes the mark in front of a couple of red jumpers. And the Gold Coast Suns working well on the last line of defence.
Powell, last line of defence, winds up and kicks it long, looking for King. Playing in front, Martin takes the intercepting grab. Left half forward for Essendon. Chips it over the top to Merritt, who's marked 55 out from home. 10 in from the boundary. He kicks inboard, not the required distance. Shield has to play on, so he pops it into the path of Stringer. Ballard with a fist for the Suns. Ball to be won inside 50 for Essendon. Witts to Davies, to Flanders, to Butterick, all by hand, and the Suns can take off from half-back. He gives it to Ulan, gets around a would-be tackler, now to Holman. They're still travelling by hand. Butterick to Flanders. They've made it to the wing, the Suns. On the outer side, kick up towards half-forward. Is that a shove out from Andrew? Yes. Free kick to Ben Mackay at right half-back, and he didn't give the ball back to him, McAndrew. And that's going to be 50.
Well, you're allowed to hold your ground as a forward.
That's a poor call, I reckon.
Yeah.
And you know.
But Ben Mackay's coming back hard on McAndrew. You're allowed to hold your ground.
A couple of 50-metre penalties in this second quarter. Damien Hardwick's love of Docklands is not going to increase at this stage. Out to Roberts from Mackay, into the pocket, Stringer and Langford. They spoil each other. Langford's tackled and brought down. And Weller locks him up, just not quite on the same page.
Oh, they just didn't see each other. It's coming from different angles there.
Thrown up 30 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Bryant and Witts. Witts on all fours, tries to knock it out to Graham. He gets the hand pass away. Closey into the middle of the crowd. They're not well set, and Redmond takes the intercepting mark for the Bombers.
Time for maybe one more as Redmond just bangs it to a dangerous position at the top of the square. Collins with a big double fister over the line for a rushed behind.
That kicks to Menzie. Like it's 3-on-1 in the goal square with China. So terrific by Gold Coast. Great defending, great getting numbers back. That ball cannot go to Jai Menzie.
Been super, Mason Redmond, one of the Bombers' best players, but yeah, that's just a bit of a rush kick, isn't it?
Essendon by 11.
As they're closing in on half-time. Suns through Weller, out of defence, up to the wing. Witts nudged underneath it. Clears he and Ben King. Merritt races after it. Under pressure from Humphrey. Humphrey got him in the end. Lays the tackle. The ball spills clear. Graham head over the footy. Siren sounds for half-time. And there's a bid on here as Redmond is into Ben King. And it's right in front of the two benches. The umpires are powerless now that the half-time siren has blown. And one of the umpires trying to direct players to not get involved. And Jake Stringer is not having a bar of that. He's run straight past him. So Ben King is on the turf. And now this is a full-on fracas with about half of the playing group involved. Ben Hobbs is involved as they tangle on the boundary line. Alan Davies as well, and now some common sense as Sam Draper, the unlikely, is just pushing a few Bombers players towards their race. They are now slowly heading their different directions, but Jake Stringer still has a word or two. Mac Andrews is still involved. This is the AFL maybe rubbing their hands together. Now Mac Andrews with a push to the face of Roberts, and this is starting to escalate once more. Big Jag Walter throws his big frame in there, and now they're holding each other like they would on a basketball court by the scruff of their jumpers. So the umpires are circling here, but there's really, they can't pay any free kicks. There's nothing they can do.
Let it go.
The Essendon fans are booing. The Little League kids are waiting for their chance to get on the field.
I reckon they'd be saying, it's going to cost you, boys. Think about your wallets.
Yeah.
All they can say at half-time, isn't there?
So now they do slowly but surely break into their separate huddles. And Essendon lead by 11 points at half-time, having trailed by a point at quarter-time. A 5-3 second quarter. As Jess made mention, there were 3 lead changes in that second quarter, and the Bombers finished with the last 3 goals of the half to lead 9-4-58 to the Suns 7-5-47. For the Bombers, 2 goals to Nate Caddy, individuals to Draper, Caldwell, Durham, Jones and Stringer, and Menzies as well. While for the Gold Coast Suns, 3 goals to Ben King, individuals to Flanders, Holman, Humphrey and Andrew. Half-time here at Docklands. Meanwhile, at the MCG, it's Melbourne who lead by 3 points over Port Adelaide, 4-5-29 to the Power, 3-8-26. Some quick thoughts from Adam Manaskis and Luke Ball on ABC.
Entertaining still, Grammer, isn't it? That was a really good quarter. I think we spoke about the first 10 minutes. The Bombers looked like they'd found their groove a little bit, and they were winning ball out of the centre bounce and looking dangerous forward of the ball. And it was the Gold Coast that responded really well. I think they'd be pleased with that, the way they're able to wrestle the momentum back, and then they look dangerous going forward, and then the Bombers again. So it was a bit of an arm wrestle and a seesawing contest. And if you look at the numbers, they support that. You know, it's pretty even in terms of inside 50s and clearance and contest work. And in the end, it was probably just a couple of brain fades that toward that last 5 minutes of that quarter from inexperienced players, it must be said. Davies giving away the 50-metre penalty that resulted in the goal. And, Merritt, I think, had a couple of really good moments late in that quarter that got Essendon back in front. And really, that's it. That's been the difference in the contest so far. So plenty of positives from both sides. Just need to tidy up a bit of that work there from the Gold Coast Suns, and a couple of 50-metre penalties that just release the pressure valve. When they've been really good and they've been really tough inside at the contest, and their pressure's really been good, especially in that front half as well. Just to release the pressure like that with some ill discipline or just lack of concentration. I think Mac Andrew, that was really stiff. I thought that free kick and then to give away the 50-metre penalty, but not much in the game. And really entertaining.
Who was the Turkish shooter who had the...
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Is that what Sam Draper was going for?
Dakech, I think.
Yeah, and there's been a few other athletes that have it was Nina Kennedy and the brilliant Swede who won the men's pole vault as well, went with it. So Sammy Draper's been watching the Olympics.
What's really interesting about this game, so we mentioned earlier in the call about Damien Hardwick making a bit of a statement at selection with players that he wanted in the team, but also players that he wanted out of the team. And I think there was particular attention around the contest and around the effort. So right now the game is Gold Coast +9 in contested possessions and +2 in clearance. So that's the combative stuff within the game. The problem for Gold Coast, though, is Essendon are +350 metres gained. So when the ball's getting out in open, so Gold Coast is so concentrated on the contest, and then they're forgetting about open play. And that's where Essendon in that quarter just started to break them open when the ball moved into the wings Mason Redmond taking 2 or 3 bounces down a wing there. Dylan Shield winning the ball in the middle of the ground and then finding Nate Caddy out wide. So the combat stuff for Gold Coast is working really well. The defensive transition stuff isn't working really well for Gold Coast at the moment. That's what I think will be concerning Damien Hardwick. Now, those contest numbers aren't too big, too much of a difference that Essendon are going, geez, it's a real worry here. But I think for Damien Hardwick, he'll be worrying about Essendon's run and carry. So that's where I think, Brad Scott will be sitting in the rooms going, okay, boys, we've got, what do we got here, an 11-point lead. We're okay contest. They're +2 in clearance. We're +3 in centre bounce. But Damien Hardwick, we're starting to think about Nick Martin, 18 possessions. Mason Redmond, 17 possessions. Zach Merritt, 17 possessions. Durham, 12. The Essendon players that, they're good around the contest, but they're much better when the ball gets to that second phase of the contest and they're out in the open. An
opening half with plenty of action, including a little after the halftime siren. The Bombers lead by 11 points, 9-4-58 to the Gold Coast Suns, 7-5-47. It's been an eventful day in the AFL with plenty of upsets. We'll bring you all of that details and more. But for the moment, let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Tanmaya Navada. Palestinian health authorities say at least 80 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza after an Israeli airstrike hit a school. Matthew Doran reports from Jerusalem.
Local authorities say the school in Gaza City had been serving as a refuge for desperate Palestinians who'd lost everything in the war and accused the Israeli Defense Force of timing the strike with morning prayers. The IDF is citing but not revealing intelligence that Hamas had co-opted the school and around 20 fighters were hiding among civilians, leading it to launch what it's describing as a targeted strike. The incident comes as Israel prepared to send a delegation to talks in either Doha or Cairo this week, which the United States, Qatar and Egypt are hoping will result in a ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas. Matthew Doran, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Investigations are continuing after a plane carrying 61 people crashed near the city of Sao Paulo in Brazil, killing everyone on board. Video footage shows the twin-engine turboprop spiralling towards the ground before catching fire and exploding as it crashed into a housing complex. At Home, South Australia's ambulance union says a patient in a residential care facility in Adelaide's northeast died while waiting 5 hours for an ambulance last month. Union spokesperson Leah Watkins understands the patient was initially triaged as a priority 3, which should have had a response within an hour. She also understands the case was then escalated to a priority 2 and then priority 1, but says the patient died by the time the crew arrived. The incident occurred in a month when ramping hours hit a record high. Ms Watkins says the incident was concerning.
For every case that is delayed, there is a greater risk of that person deteriorating to the point that they may indeed pass away before an ambulance arrives.
You're up to date with ABC News.
WORDGURU. Out of Tim Minchin, Zoe Coombsmar and Tom Gleeson, who's best at spelling?
Does anyone really give a hoot about spelling anymore?
Based on the international hit series, join Guy Montgomery and Aaron Chen, challenging Australia's top comedians in a brand new contest of skill.
It's like mixed martial arts, but with words.
And no martial arts.
Guy Montgomery's Guy Mont Spelling Bee.
Watch them squirm.
Premieres Wednesday, August 14 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Spins the ball back into play. Yuland just got rid of it in the nick of time, but straight to Stringer, gives it to Caldwell. A bouncing kick towards goal has somehow gone through. He's kicked that from the boundary. That's an incredible finish. Draper, the target, knocked away from him by Collins. It's Fields to Shield. He hand passes to Bryan, looks inboard for Draper, has a bounce at 50 metres out there, shoots towards goal. Something special from Sammy Draper. And that's got the crowd on their feet here at Docklands. Draper wins the tap, but straight down to Closey from half forward, kicks around the corner, the top of the square, and Humphrey collects and bangs it through for another for the Suns. It got out the back and Humphrey was in the right place at the right time. Menzie quick to release. Shield by hand. Pulled the kick cleverly and found Caddy at right half forward. He marks uncontested. Has a bounce. Shoots towards goal from 40. And that is all class from Nate Caddy.
the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at Docklands in Melbourne. The Bombers hold an 11-point lead in Saturday night footy. 9-4-58 to the Gold Coast Suns, 7-5-47. Coverage continues from the Olympics Day 15 of competition. It's a very good evening to Lauren Borden.
Hello, Clinchy. Nice to be chatting to the Saturday night crew again from Olympics HQ. We've just had a bit of disappointment here, though, in the sport climbing. So, Oceana Mackenzie, she's the Australian. She was sitting third after her bouldering event. That's where you have the 4 problems that you study and then you go through all them. That's her strength. She went into the lead, which is the 15-metre wall. They have 6 minutes to study it, get put in a waiting room so they can't see what the other competitors are doing. She went onto it and she just fell off it. So, she was sitting third. This is the final and she's fallen off it, which is bad news given how strong she's gone in the first event. She did have some tough competitors who have the lead as their strength, but that was just moments ago. Oceana Mackenzie had just fallen off the lead wall in her second event of the sport climbing. That's been, I think, a good addition to the game starting in Tokyo and coming in here. I know people might not like the breakdancing, but I think sports climbing has been a really good addition. Genevieve Janssen van Rensburg, she was competing in the modern pentathlon semi-finals, so that's always just, I don't know, so iconic when it comes to the Olympics, I think, when you see them doing the fencing and the equestrian, the swimming and the laser run. She's missed out on making it to the finals, though, so we won't have one of those golden moments like Chloe Esposito 8 years ago. She's was out of that at the Chateau of Versailles. Good news, though, for the Australians in the diving is Castle Rousseau has made it into the men's 10-metre platform final. He finished 4th, so a very excellent finish there in the semi-finals. He'll follow Melissa Wu and Ali Cole, who made it into the women's final of that event a few days ago. They weren't able to medal. But, of course, we had Madison Keeney winning silver in the 3-metre springboard yesterday. So there's been some really good results for the divers across the competition. But I think what I'm most excited for coming up in just a couple of hours' time is the water polo. Australia playing Spain in the gold medal match. They haven't been in the final of this competition since 2000 when they won in Sydney. So defeated the US rather in penalty shootouts yesterday. It was just such an epic match to send the US into the bronze medal match. And in the bronze medal match, the Americans have lost to the Dutch. So it's the first time in women's water polo at the Olympics that the US haven't come home with a medal. So big news for the Americans there. But Zoe Arancini, the rest of the Australian team, are looking to win gold here. It'll be Holly Young on the call, the ex-Aussie Stingers captain, who'll be joined by Ned Hall doing that. That starts at about 11:35 tonight. So on the way home from the footy, hopefully you might be able to get a little bit of that and find out how the Aussies go in the water polo. There's obviously always going to be plenty on at the track. We had the marathon a little earlier on, some good results for the Australians, but no actual track in the morning. It'll be the track in the evening there, where in the javelin throw, Mackenzie Little and Catherine Mitchell will be in that one. The 5,000 metre final, we'll see Stuart McSwain be there. There was a bit of drama in all his heats where people fell over. The heat after, he's a cameraman, walked onto the track. So there was a little bit of drama there, but McSwain has made the final. And, of course, the 1,500 metre final. Jess Hull, that's at 4:15am. A real hope in that one. She finished second in her semi-final. So we're all hoping that she'll be the first Aussie to win a medal in this event. And then the men's Madison final. So I love watching the track cycling. It's always so exciting. There's thrills and spills, and Sam Welsford and Callan O'Brien will be in that one in the early hours of the morning. And, of course, a few hours ago too, Kaylee McEwen, it was announced that she'll be the flag bearer along with Matt Wern. So the two athletes there that were able to go back-to-back in Tokyo, and again in Paris, they'll be the flag bearers. So we've got 18 medals already, Clinchy. We're hoping for maybe another 1 or 2 tonight to keep putting that medal tally up and try and get as close as we can to the Chinese and the American, well ahead of us, but hopefully stay in that third spot as we head back to you, Clinchy, just holding down the fort in Melbourne.
No, hang on, Lauren. Before you go, what's been the most enjoyable sport you've called apart from the straightforward sort of beach volleyball you were doing?
Oh, I liked the modern pentathlon, to be honest. I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't make it into the final. It's just crazy to think that they do equestrian and they get a horse 20 minutes beforehand. They just randomly allocate horses. So these athletes have got to kind of form a relationship with their horses and then go out into the show jumping arena, swim 200 metres at a temporary pool they've put in the Chateau de Versailles, and as well as be able to do a laser run and shoot the 5 targets. So that's been a little bit wild, but it's just impressive when you're watching anything, even if it's the archery, when you really sit there and think that they're shooting from 70 metres away and are able to hit something the size of an orange. It's pretty incredible.
It certainly is. Your Bombers lead by 11 points at halftime. We look forward to catching up with all the team later in the week for a coffee. Of course, the closing ceremony in the early hours of Monday morning. A very thanks to Lauren Borden, part of the ABC Sports team, covering the Olympics for our regional listeners and in those markets where it's available. For everyone else, of course, Roy and HG each day from 11 p.m. on local radio where available, but via the ABC Listen app. People, medals and cheese doing what they do best, covering the Olympic Games with their own unique slant on it. The Bombers by 11 points at half-time, 9-4-58 to the Suns, 7-5-47. Matt Clinch and Jess Webster calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas are your experts. The third quarter's just got underway from the MCG, and it's the Demons 5-5-35, leading Port Adelaide 3-8-26. So what a crazy day of results we've had. Firstly with the Giants, the boil over at the Gabba, so surging to second on the ladder with an 18-point win, led by Cadman with 3 goals, Jesse Hogan with 3 goals. So at quarter time, they trail by 30 points and they keep the final 6 goals of the match. So the Giants, 6 straight wins. The Eagles claimed a crucial victory down in Tassie with Oscar Allen kicking the winning goal with 18 seconds to go. So a 5-point win over North Melbourne. So West Coast with the last 4 goals of the match and the second straight win for Jared Schofield. I say crucial, but could be to his caretaking coaching chances. And then the Cats, 11-point winners over Fremantle to keep their top 4 hopes alive. So an upset win, Geelong 10-13-73. So to the Fremantle Dockers, 9-8-62. With the Cats booting 3 goals to 1 in the final term. Shannon Neal and Sean Manor booted 2 goals. And the Cats all of a sudden, we're having a bit of a look with St Kilda and the West Coast Eagles in the last 2 rounds of the home and away season. It may open up for the team from Geelong.
Absolutely, yeah, it's up for grabs for them. The Giants leapfrog Brisbane into second today with that performance. Port Adelaide, although looks like they've got their work cut out for them at the MCG, Rammer, but if they could get over the line tonight, they go to second on percentage. And Fremantle letting 2 in a row slip all of a sudden by the end of the round could be just hanging on to 8th spot. So I mean, it's an exercise in futility, isn't it? Trying to predict the ladder week in, week out, let alone day in, day out at the moment. So fascinating. It's good. And the Bombers can surge on and win tonight. They're probably the one, or with Hawthorn, of course, tomorrow, depending on how they go. They're the one that can still hold on to a shot of playing finals footy from outside the 8.
Who's the premiership favourite in your eye?
Brisbane, they took a hit today, didn't they? You know what? I think if I had to put... If it started next week, probably the Bulldogs. I think they're playing the best footy. Now, I didn't see Brisbane today, and I look at the scoreline, and Rami, you saw a bit of it. You tell me they should have been 6 or 7 up
at quarter time,
kicked their way out of it. So yeah, well, obviously not jumping off it. And they'd won 9 in a row, so you could argue they're probably due for a bit of a downer, and that won't do them any harm. A little reality check, if you want to call it that, with 2 weeks to go, but. Gosh, the Bulldogs are looking strong.
The key for Brisbane is getting Jack Payne back into that team. So Hogan kicks 3, Cadman kicks 3. They bring Darren Joyce in for a particular role. Harris Andrews is probably the All-Australian centre-half back at this stage, but he needs somebody riding shotgun as a bigger key forward. So Starcevic today had a bit of Brent Daniels, a bit of Toby Green. But credit to the Giants, 2 weeks in a row now. They've been able to fight their way back, fight their way through a poor start. Adam Kingsley gave them an almighty spray at quarter time because they were, I think it was plus 20 in contested possession to Brisbane at quarter time, and that's just not Adam Kingsley and the way he coaches, and he made them well aware of that at quarter time, and to their credit, they responded. And when a team responds, that's when you know you've got a pretty good team on your hands. If they can't respond and they just it continues down the same path, well, you've got a problem. So, and then Geelong, well, that was a terrific last quarter of football. It went a little bit back and forward, and Geelong probably had more chances than Freo. I think in close games, it's no doubt it's a team that can create the most chances in the last quarter. So, whether they're points or behinds, it's scoring shots that matter.
And I reckon that just the experience. In those close games as well. You look at Geelong, and it was Cameron's 250th today, wasn't it? But Tom Stewart, Dangerfield himself had some key moments as well. So, I mean, you wouldn't rule out the Cats, Frammer.
No.
From getting themselves into a position where they can lure. I mean, a nice draw. They go St Kilda and then the Eagles at home. That should settle them in a top 4 position now. From there, they'll rely on other results, and they might have to travel. But we've seen that won't worry them either with their experience. And it's hard. It's easy to forget that only 2 years ago they stood up there on the dais as premiers, isn't it? So fascinating last fortnight of the season coming up, Jess.
And the other wild thing is that the first 6 positions on the ladder are for teams all outside Melbourne. It's just, I think, probably another thing we didn't predict in season 2024, Clinchy.
Second half about to get underway. The Bombers leading by 11 points. 9-4-58 to the Suns, 7-5-47. Well, the heated display before half-time continue. Here's Jess Webster.
Big second half to come from the middle. Witts chases after it, gives it to Matt Rowell. He was caught high. The umpire didn't see it and called play on. His hand pass intercepted by Martin, who gives it to Merritt as the Bombers go inside forward 50. That kick over the head of Stringer, and now they all chase after it. Euland's first there for the Suns. Stringer just pushes him over and then grabs the footy. He's close to the boundary line. Closey has him. Stringer somehow gets boot to ball, but it's marked by Lemons on the goal line for the Suns.
Just millimetres out from his defensive goal line. Goes short to Anderson. He takes the mark still inside the defensive 50. Short to Powell. So trying to find an avenue out of defence. Gets the hand pass back to Anderson. Runs through the centre corridor. Chips it to Rowell. Great kick. Didn't have to break stride. Gets the hand pass away to Flanders. Looks out to left half forward. It's wide of Sexton and Humphrey. Humphrey gathers. Chips it into the pocket. McAndrew. How easy was that? And he's getting the Bronx cheer from his wrestle at half-time.
Well, it's the kick of Noah Anderson. No, it's to Matt Rowell running towards goal, so it's a really tricky kick in the middle of the ground, but that just opens up the field.
He's going to kick across his body. 35 metres out, maybe 40, opens up the angle, curls it beautifully for a second for the Big Mac. And the Gold Coast Suns close the gap to start the third quarter, just 90 seconds in. 9-4-58 the Bombers to the Suns, 8-5-53. McAndrew with his second.
Yeah, he called it well, Rama. That's just terrific transition footy, set up by the bold kick. Here we see it on replay. Noah Anderson, he just beautifully waited, wasn't just dropped it on Matty Rowell's lap, and Sam Flanders gliding through the middle of the ground. Bailey Humphrey, I've liked his game. Again, not a high possession player, but I just liked his intensity today. Sometimes he can look like he's just floating through the game a little bit, but he's been involved in a lot of Gold Coast scores today, and just a nice little tick lead back at the kicker there for the perfect start to the second half for the Suns.
Margin by 5 points. It hasn't grown beyond 12 points all night. As we've got an offline bounce in the middle. We'll do it all again. It was the Suns by a point at quarter time. Essendon by 11 at half time. Umpire throws the ball aloft, and there's a free kick for a hold, and it is going the way of Bryant for Essendon. He can send the Bombers forward. Shoots the kick to half forward. Looking for Hobbs. Powell's right there with him, and they both see it over. We'll have a throw-in 70 around from Essendon's goal. They lead by 5 points. The Suns have kicked the first goal of the third quarter.
Poor option, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's just got to go long.
Yeah.
Just long inside forward.
6 forwards, one-on-one ahead of the ball, and you kick to
Hobbs.
Hobbs. Outside 50.
Demons by 3 points over Port Adelaide at the MCG. Rowell putting on a clinic, emerges with the clearance, hand pass to Flanders, kicks up towards Long, in a tangle with Kelly, hard against the boundary. Long keeps it alive, he might have lost Kelly, taps it back to his own advantage, cuts on his right, a centering kick asking for Ben King to fly. He does against Mackay, emerges with it. McAndrew, can he finish with a toe poke? He can. He made a lot harder work of it than he needed to, but I think it's just below his left knee. And he came charging over the goal line under the pressure of the Bombers' defence, but I think he's managed to get it through. Just needed a toe poke to it.
Rolled down his leg, I think, in the end.
And McAndrew has his third, and the Gold Coast Suns now lead by a point for all the theatrics in front of goal. 9-5-59 to the Bombers, 9-4-58. Well, Harry Jones was trying to offer support, but in the end, McAndrew,
but Laverty's got to be closer.
Above the knee to below the knee, through for a goal.
It's a brilliant one-on-one win from Ben Long again, though, isn't it? It's a good contest, that. That was just a genuine one-on-one contest that he wheeled himself into. It started with Rowell, didn't it? That was just amazing clearance work here at half-back. Flanders involved again. Good start the second half here for the Suns.
We remain on trend since just before quarter time. Essendon kicked 3, Suns kicked 3, Bombers kicked 3. Now the Suns have kicked 2. So we'll see if this momentum shift continues. Back in the middle. Parrish squeezes a kick forward and they contest for it on the wing. Hobbs hand passes to Martin, who kicks up towards half forward over the head of Caldwell, who will run onto this at right half forward for Essendon. Close up against the boundary line, kicks into the pocket for Langford. And Hewlin with the spoil knocks it out of play. Throw in 20 metres around from Essendon's goal. They trail the Suns by a point 5 minutes into this third term Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Jess Webster and Matt Clinch calling the action. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts, and Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Thrown in, Brian wins down the tap on the move. Hobbs ran into a dead end. Hewlin lays the tackle. Some good support there as Sexton offered the encouragement. Just 15 metres out from their defensive goal. Suns had a couple of early ones here in the third quarter. The Bombers looking to answer back. Brian wins down the tap. Can't get it to Caldwell. Rao once more. Extracts the footy. Hand pass to Ballard. Hand pass to Lemons. Close to the boundary line. Redmond in front. Juggles the mark. Couldn't complete it inside the field of play.
He is so strong, Matt Rao. He doesn't go to ground when he gets tackled. He fights to get his arms free, just to give a little handball. Like Caldwell's doing absolutely everything he can with Rao at stoppage, but he's just a beast around contest.
He has 7 clearances. The next highest has 4.
From the ball up, Durham swoops on it for the Bombers, kicks it to a dangerous position. Draper in a one-on-one with Collins. Collins stripped to the footy, holding the ball. He took on Draper. And Draper will end up with the free kick, 30 metres out directly in front.
He just had to hold the ball there, Bally. But Draper, to his credit, really strong tackle.
It's locked the arm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, these days, they probably still pay that holding the ball if you've got one arm free, don't you? It was just...
Would have been tough to get the ball to boot there.
Yeah. Feel a bit there for Sam Collins. I like it. He's playing in front, making the play, but Sammy Draper was good enough just to hold that arm and win himself a free kick.
This for his third, and to restore the lead to Essendon. Straight as an arrow. Essendon by 5, 10-4-64 Gold Coast, 9-5-59, 6.5 played third term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas.
That's a good return, isn't it, Mama?
Bonus.
3.
Yeah,
it is.
When you're not getting a lot out of sort of Stringer and Langford on the scoreboard, Draper's been the absolute bonus with 3 goals. Caddy's got 2 goals. So you look at that and you go, well, Essendon, there's a lot of improvement. Can Langford now hit the scoreboard? Can Stringer start to hit? He's kicked 1, I think, Stringer. So can he hit the scoreboard now in this second half?
That means you can persist with Nick Bryan in the ruck too. He's been pretty good. I think the fact that Draper is having an impact in the forward 50. What was that one? He blew a kiss that time, Sammy. I mean, if nothing else, we want him to keep kicking goals because he can keep us guessing on the celebrations. But
did wonder if he thought of a goal celebration if he happened to kick a third. He had us well and truly covered. Back in the middle of the ground. Rao trying to get an 8th clearance. He's tackled this time and brought down high, says the umpire, by Dylan Shield over the shoulder. So Matt Rao coming up to possession number 23, leading all comers with Nick Martin with 20. Into the middle of the ground for Davies. He marks at the back of the centre circles. Essendon leading by 5 points. Drives a long kick inside 50. Ben King gets rid of Mackay. Nudges him underneath and juggles the mark on the second bite. He marks on a 45-degree angle out to the right. In sort of Mitch McGovern territory.
Good mark.
And kicked through his third. His 4th.
Good strong mark.
Yep. No, it's been a good aerial display, hasn't it? Both ends today. This will be a good return from King if he can kick his 4th here.
Hit 2 in the first, 1 in the third. It's just outside the top 10 for contested marks this season. It's across the face of goal. Mac Andrew is trying to put his body on the line, and Witts is there as well. But Jones rushes it through for a minor score. Bombers lead by 4 points. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Nick Cox is back sitting on the Bombers bench. He still looks pretty pale and a little bit out of it, guys, but good to see him up here and sitting on the bench.
Subbed out in that second quarter with concussion, Ben Hobbs into the game for Essendon. Suns still yet to use their sub, and David Swallow is McGrath with the kick-in duties for the Bombers. A long kick to the wing. Ball to be won. Collins with a driving tackle on Merritt. The umpire calls for it. Ball up on the dockside wing. Essendon by 11 at halftime. Margin now 4 points. Witts down at Flanders. Beautiful hand pass to Graham, who kicks inside forward 50. Long has found some space. 40 from home, directly in front.
Oh, well, it's a sort of stoppage you practice at training, isn't it, Rammer? Just beautiful hit down.
Mason Redmond just got absolutely lost there.
Yeah. But, that's clinical clearance work. They're on top at the moment around the stoppage, the Suns. Bombers might just need to tighten up a bit on Rowell, and that time it was Graham.
He's had a good year, Ben Long. Kicked 23 goals, second only to Ben King. Here he is for his first look at goal. Directly in front, 45 out. And he's missed. Margin 3 points the way of Essendon. 10-4-64, Gold Coast 9-7-61. 10 minutes travel, third term on ABC Sport.
Meanwhile, it's Melbourne who lead by 9 points against Port Adelaide. Third quarter action there as well. As Andy McGrath brings the Bombers back into play. Drives it long towards Brian. Walter works his way to the front, but Brian over the top. Takes an impressive mark for the Bombers. The young ruckman growing in confidence. Hand pass to Durham. Kicks up to Merritt. The Bombers captain marks it right half forward. He looks up inside 50. Has Caddy and Gresham on a lead. He veers to the left. Puts it towards the teeth of goal. Caddy and Stringer are there. Caddy got hands to it. Can't take the mark. Ballard back to the teeth of goal. Closey under the pressure of Gresham. Hand pass away to Powell. Links up with Rowell. Now to Butterick. Puts it out in front. A 50-50 ball. Flanders had it slapped away. Menzies goes to work. Lays the tackle. Gold Coast desperately defending. It spills out to Powell. Hand pass to Ballard. Just quickly jams it on the boot. The Bombers are waiting. Redmond in from the side. Crash the pack against his opponent as he swings away from Rogers and looks up inside 50. The kick looking for Stringer. He flies early. Caddy at the back spoils it down. Closey with a clearing kick. Intercepted once more by Redmond for the Bombers.
He'll pump it back into attack to a dangerous position. Jones the target in a one-on-one. Holman back with a flight. Couldn't complete the grab. He gives it off to Ballard on the last line defence. Suns desperately trying to exit the danger zone. Short kick to Anderson, who kicks laterally to Lockie Weller, still inside defensive 50, and now it opens up for the Suns. A long searching kick to Rogers on the outer wing. Hand passes forward to Flanders, just forward of halfway. Chips up towards half forward. Long, strong contested mark against McGrath. Takes off immediately, crosses the paint of 50. Squaring kick to the top of the goal square. The fist came from Brian. Ball to be won. Holman picks it up. Hand pass deflected. Jones picks it up for the Bombers. And now to Martin, to Laverty. Now the Bombers' defence are under pressure. Sweeping hand pass to Bryan from defensive 50. Kick out wide, looking for Hobbs. Sexton playing in front for Essendon. Coming through is Langford. Wins the footy, gives it to Hobbs. Now back to Caldwell. Kick down the line in a one-on-one. Powell against Durham. Suns come up with it. Anderson, nice kick to half forward, finds Sexton in space.
Bombers lead by 3 points. 12 minutes gone. Third quarter. As Alex Sexton veers out of the right, into the pocket, Walters and Andrew. Andrew flew over the pack, didn't take the mark. And McGrath sees it out of play, left forward pocket for the Suns. Matt Clinch and Jess Webster calling the action. Roy Campbell down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Paul is your Saturday night footy team on ABC Sport. This match has felt like a roller coaster. It's been up and down from both sides, and neither are all that convincing at times with their execution. Thrown in, Walters in front of Bryan, knocks it down to the front. Andrew off hands, screws it back towards goal and misses to the right-hand side. Pitches on its point and goes out of play. Bounces around the right behind post for a throw-in. So no damage done. The Suns get a forward 50 stoppage.
These two sides, of course, played earlier in the season of round 12. The Suns won by 11 up there at Carrara on the Gold Coast. And Essendon turn the tables here on their home turf. Ball back into play. Bryan palms it down. Rowell against Shield. Shield bumps off Rowell and then gives it to Roberts, who then shares it with McGrath by hand. Off to Redmond. Last line of defence. Kicks across the face of goal for Martin, who's marked just inside the field of play in the right back pocket for Essendon. It looked long down the line, but great work on the mark by Holman to smother the kick. It's picked up by Ben King, who shares it with Holman against the boundary. He's running towards goal. Outside of the boot. He's missed near side for a point. That would have been something. The lead is 2 points the way of Essendon. 10-4-64. Gold Coast 9-8-62.
Goal for Zach Butters of Port Adelaide. Melbourne's lead back to 3 points at the MCG as the Bombers at left half back through Shield. Combines with Roberts once more and kicks up the wing, and Davey takes the mark.
The game's open up here, isn't it, Clinchy? Yep.
Certainly has.
Attacking with a big wide open ground at the moment.
Centre wing on the City side. Alwyn Davey Jr. kicks high, ball inside 50. Hobbs flies. Collins in front. Takes a good vice-like mark in front of the smaller forward, who was sumped into the match with Nick Cox out of the action in the second quarter. Still no action for David Swallow, the game's record holder for the Suns, as Weller receives the short pass. Call to play on in the right back pocket. He looks to send it up the city wing in the direction of Rogers. Back with the flight. Menzies couldn't take the mark. And off hands it goes out of play. Bombers lead by 2 points. 14 minutes gone. Third term on ABC Sport.
The Bombers have won their last 6 against Gold Coast here at Docklands. And a healthy record against the Suns. They haven't won away in 2024. From the ball in, Shield can send Essendon back inside forward 50. Stringer the target. Big fist came from Ballard. Ball to be won at half forward. Picked up by Davey. Gives it to Parrish. Pops the kick into the path of Caddy, who's marked 30 metres out directly in front.
Well, they had first hands on the clearance ball over there on the wing, the Gold Coast. Just coughed up the handball, and I think it was Dylan Shield that picked it off and belted the ball forward. And all it was just a contest and then a ground ball win inside 50.
Nate Caddy is blossoming before our eyes for goal number 3. Sends it straight through the middle. Essendon out to an 8-point lead. 11-4-70. Gold Coast 9-8-62. 15 and a half minutes played. Third term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas.
Yeah, that hurts, Paulie.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because I think Gold Coast have had the better of the last 7 or 8 minutes. You know, in that period of time, they kicked 3 behinds. So, you know, Holman missed just one just previous.
Ben King
this one. And then it comes down the other end. And, you know, it's sort of against the flow that Essendon get that goal, which is a good sign for the Bombers. But you just think Gold Coast, they just might have missed that little opportunity there where they could have put 2 or 3 on the board, wrestled back the lead, and started playing the game on their terms a little bit.
3 goals for Nate Caddy, who joins Sam Draper with 3 goals. In the middle of the ground, it's Merritt once more who gets the clearance, receives it from Parrish, kicks out to the city wing. It means he had to wait a little while for it, and Closey was able to make the spoil for the Suns, much to the encouragement of Sam Collins. So a throw in on the city wing. The Bombers hold an 8-point advantage. Young fans out on the city wing, bouncing around in their beanies and scarves tonight. Predominantly a Essendon crowd is looking to keep their finals chances alive. They need to win every game. Anderson gathered, tackled by Parrish, had an arm pin, somehow got rid of it. Hacked by Witts, up to half forward, long flying through the pack. What a mark. At right half forward, he has it for the Gold Coast Suns.
He'll send it into the pocket, looking for King on the lead. He dropped the mark. Mackay at the back. To Roberts, to Martin, and Merritt by hand. Hand up against the boundary line, kicks it outside defensive 50. Long in front position, knocked away from him. Going in hard is Davies, shares it with Graham, tries to fend off. Then throws it on the boot. It's a high up and under to a dangerous position. Back with the flight is Sexton. Ball spills to ground. Rogers pounces on it for the Suns. Hand passes to Walter, gives it back to his academy mate, but it's broken up by Kelly. And we'll have a ball in 40 metres around from the Suns' goal. Left half forward, Essendon by 8 points.
He's just coming into the game nicely, Jake Rogers. He's had the 11 possessions, but it's just finding that spot in the forward half for him.
Ben King, you've just got to mark that. Yeah. Ben Long had done all the hard work. Better off.
Thrown in, Draper and Witt, spills down Nick Martin's way, hand pass to Kelly, kick smothered by the determined Rowell, spills out to Walter over his shoulder, he curls it back for a crucial goal. Back to a 2-point ball game, and the Suns will not go away. 11-4-70 the Bombers to the Gold Coast Suns 10-8-68. Jed Walter with his first goal of the evening.
Oh, it's a good finish, isn't it? I spoke earlier that they've Hardwick's shown the ability just to throw him into the ruck just for periods of the game.
It's the smother there by
Anderson. Yeah, Anderson again, terrific 1%er. And that's your point, Rammer, isn't it? They're right in this, the Suns. They've, in fact, but for that last goal from the Bombers, they've really controlled this quarter, this first sort of 18 minutes of this quarter. Just haven't had any reward for effort. At that time, off the back of a terrific smother from a clearing kick from Noah Anderson, Jed Walter gets his opportunity to impact the game.
3 goals to 2 the way of the Suns so far in this third quarter. From the restart, Shield hacks it forward. A bouncing ball inside forward 50. Yulin's first there for the Suns. Hand pass into the path of Powell, who gathers it right half back for Gold Coast. Sends it long down the line. Coming out to meet it is Long. He marks inside the centre square. Turns around, pumps it long in the King direction. Knocked away from him by Mackay. Whistle on play. It's a free kick. Advantage is paid, and running into an open goal is Walter, who pops through his second in a couple of minutes and restores the lead to Gold Coast. In another momentum shift here at Docklands. Suns by 4 points. 11-8-74. Essendon 11-4-70. 20 minutes played. Third term on ABC Sport. Your experts, Luke Ball, Adam Ramanaskis.
Well, look, I'm not sure if Ben Mackay can do much more there. So the umpire's right on the spot there. He's called a push.
It's a hold, if anything.
Well, yeah, it's a hold, if anything.
I mean, Ben Long, he's the one, isn't he? He's the one who's absolutely setting the Gold Coast alight. He looks the most dangerous forward line.
Here's the thing, Laverty can't stop there. He just completely stops. So, yeah, but you're right, Ben Long's had a terrific quarter. He's been the igniter, I think, for this team across half forward. He's had 5 possessions this quarter, 3 score involvements. So, been really good in this quarter, Ben Long.
And they just put that Bombers defence under another layer of pressure. Witts wins down the tap for the Suns, but it's Shield who gets the clearance for the Bombers. Out on a long lead, Nate Caddy. Arms out in front of the eyes. He swings on his right. Inside 50, it never got to Draper. As Gresham and Butterick takes the intercepting mark for the Gold Coast Suns. Right back pocket. The Suns leading by 4 points. 20 minutes gone. Third term on ABC Sport.
Been quiet, Jay Gresham tonight, only with 3 possessions.
They played a good game last week. Kicked the 3 goals against the Dockers. Out to Collins, who kicks up to the wing. Witts and Davies. Davies at ground level, tries to get a hand pass forward. Hand pass to Graham, had to clean it up himself. Hand pass to Rowell, gets the hand pass back to Davies through the middle of the ground to Graham. Look at how he hand pass to Rowell. He couldn't gather the footy cleanly. Graham gets a hand pass forward. They're winning some of these battles. Davies hand pass, links up with Holman, inside 50. Powell's gone forward from 35 out. He swings it across the face of goal and misses to the left-hand side. Had a lot more time than what he realised. The Suns by 5 points.
He did, yeah. Yeah, another opportunity gone begging there. They're just turning up in numbers, aren't they? That was the thing there. It wasn't pretty. They almost threatened to turn the ball over, but just more Suns jumpers in the screen, and they always had that outlet handball.
Redmond from the kick-in runs to the pocket, then kicks it long to the broadcast wing to a pack whistle on play. Free kick for high contact going the way of the Suns. Sam Collins, the recipient. On the logo, dockside wing, pumps the Suns back into attack to a 2-on-2. Redmond in the end flew uncontested and takes the intercepting grab inside defensive 50. Suns by 5.
I look a bit tired this quarter, the Bombers.
Yep.
I think Gold Coast are taking advantage of that.
Short to Laverty. You wonder whether the emotions of last week's thrilling win over the Dockers, as Laverty kicks up towards Draper in a wrestle with Collins. And Sam Draper, what a mark. Just held front position, and there was no way Collins could do much other than watch as he claimed the mark. 3 goals for Sam Draper tonight, alongside 3 for Nate Caddy. Up towards half forward. Hobbs decided not to fly. Thought he had support behind him, and Butterick takes the mark. Butterick's had the job on Gresham, who's just had the 4 disposals for the night. Butterick kicks up towards half forward. Walter comes charging out. Draper set in front, can't complete the mark. Tries to clear a path. It pinballs off Rogers, and a free kick. And it's going to go the Gold Coast Suns' way against Draper. So he tried to just push. I think it was Walter out of the way in the end, and he will take the free kick at left half forward.
Suns by 5. Walter with 2 goals in this third term. It's a wobbly kick off the boot into the pocket.
And the problem for Essendon, they've had 11 inside 50s this quarter, but Menzies and Gresham haven't touched the ball. Langford and Stringer have touched it one time each.
Redmond with the mark, chip short to Kelly inside defensive 50. He kicks it sideways to the top of the defensive goal square and finds Laverty.
They simply just can't lock the ball in their forward half at the moment.
Oh, Laverty's kick out wide through the hands of Caddy. Ulan right there with him, collects the footy. Caddy tackles him, umpire calls for it. Ball up between wing and half forward in Gold Coast attacking half. They lead by 5 points. They've kicked the last 2 goals of the game, both to Jed Walter. We've got 5 minutes left in this third quarter on ABC Sport.
3 got a time at the MCG. Melbourne lead by 3 points over Port Adelaide. As Rao kicks up towards the 50, Long's out number 2 on 1. Ben Mackay took the mark, got a poke in the eye as well for his troubles in the left back pocket. They're not really a high tackle inside forward 50 side, are they, the Bombers?
Well, that's fine, but you just got to apply some pressure.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, what's Alwyn Davey in the team for if not for that?
And
What's
Menzies
Jai
as well.
Menzies in the team for if not for that?
And,
yeah, you're
and
right.
Gresham you can throw him into that as well.
So Gresham and Menzies haven't had a touch in this third quarter and only 1 tackle between them.
Davies had 2 touches.
Redmond got bumped as he got his kick away downfield. So a free kick going the way of the Bombers, and Sam Durham has it. He doesn't like anything further afield. Pretty much the Gold Coast Suns have everyone in front of him, so reverts back, finds Redmond, and now cross half back to Laverty. He gestures for someone to head laterally wide, out to the broadcast wing where Kelly takes the mark. In front of the 2 benches. They need some run. And there's not a lot at the moment as Draper tries to present. He goes shorter than that, and Parrish takes the mark centre wing.
Shoots the pass to half forward. Langford on the lead. It's a great mark from Ballard, who went with the spoil, then grabbed the footy. The umpire called it a mark. The Bombers fans are irate.
But no impact at all in the game, Kyle Langford. Only the 1 handball for the quarter.
Ballard from left half back bombs it to the wing to a 1-on-1. Bounces in front of Andrew. Davies collects. He's stripped of it by Parrish. Umpire calls play on. Davies goes in over the top. Hand pass to space. Ball bumbling around near the boundary line. Eventually it goes over the line and we'll have it tossed back in front of the interchange gates. If you've just joined us, Nick Cox subbed out of the game with concussion in the second quarter. Ben Hobbs into the action, and the Gold Coast still haven't used their sub in veteran David Swallow.
5 lead changes throughout the match in which the Suns lead by 5 points. Toss back into play. Witts and Bryan. Witts wins down the tap looking for Rowell. Caldwell close to the boundary and eventually shoved across by Davies. 4 goals for the Gold Coast Suns in this third quarter to the Bombers 2 goals straight. Suns have bookended the quarter so far with the first 2 and the last 2 so far. Thrown back in. Bryan this time wins down the tap. Rowell on the move, can't take it. Durham lays a bump. It spills out Parrish's way. Hand pass chopped off by Rowell. He takes a bounce, but it doesn't come back to him. And Sammy Durham lays a big tackle. Ball spills Martin's way. Gets to half forward. Pulls his kick looking for Caddy. He wrestles with Ballard. It spills behind him. A whistle for a hold. And the Bombers fans have come to life off the back of that big block from Sammy Durham.
Well, it's really interesting because Sammy Durham at that stoppage, you could see him trying to will his other midfielders. Come on, let's make a contest. Let's start to get some intensity around this contest. And he lays a tackle on Matty Rowell, who's been almost impossible to tackle tonight. And a smart kick by Nick Martin going inside forward 50.
Charlie Ballard just has a couple of moments where he panics. Nate Caddy has 3 for the night from directly in front to return the Bombers to the lead. From 45 metres out, he misses to the left-hand side. The Suns by 4 points. 27 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Powell short to Yuland in the left back pocket. Couple of minutes left in this third quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Looks like we're going to the wire. Yuland winds up and driving kick to the wing. Witts and King both there. Good fist came from behind by Mackay. Down to Caldwell. Gives it to Merritt. Now to Bryan. Off to Caldwell. Stripped to the footy by Rowell. Umpire calls play on. Merritt picks it up. Kicks it high up and under towards half forward. Yuland underneath it with Draper bearing down, and he takes a great mark.
Yeah, super player, really brave, great athlete.
Knows how to defend.
Yeah, kicks it like a mule too, doesn't he? He loves just sinking the slipper into it. Or he's not going to here, but
chips it short to closely Yuland, one of a number of Suns Academy products in this side. His younger brother Zeke is going to be an absolute jet. He's draftable next year.
Another one for the Academy.
One. Oh, there's a few coming through.
This one coming up, Jess, this year coming up, or the year after?
Next
year? Yeah. 6 under 16, okay.
Yuland to Closey, up towards Ben King, worked out of it by Mackay. Martin fires off a hand pass to Parrish through the middle of the ground. Hand pass to Harry Jones, looks up inside 50. Caddy the deepest target, he flies against Ballard, almost pulls in the mark. Play on the call, kick is smothered. Great desperate work, working in defence. Lemons, he regathers the footy, kicks up the wing, and Witts takes the mark in front of Bryan.
Chips it short to Flanders, who's marked in front of the interchange gates, and he just gestured to the bench saying, how long's left?
He's done a lot right, Nate Caddy, tonight, but that was a simple handball.
Less than a minute in this third term. Suns by 4. Flanders long to half forward. King nudged out of it. Mackay hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Spills to ground. Rowell picks it up. Trying to find some space. He does somehow from half forward. Centering kick into the corridor. Looking for Walter. He's tackled by Menzies. It was Holman, in fact. And we're going to have a stoppage 40 metres out directly in front of the Suns' goal.
Bit of a problem, Matty Rowell now for the Bombers. I think it's time to start putting a bit of work into him.
Whitson, Bryan in ruck. Bryan gives it to Durham and now to Martin. And chips short and finds the safety of Langford at half back. And quickly hand passes to Martin. Slips a tackle, hand passes to Draper, then inboard to Langford. They're under pressure to Caldwell, over to Draper. I think they mucked this up, the Bombers. Ball to be won inside the centre square. Draper and Holman over it. It spits out the back to Davies. His kick partially smothered. Ricochets to Flanders, trying to get away from McGrath as the siren sounds for three-quarter time here at Docklands in an entertaining contest that still has one more big quarter to come. Suns by 4 points at three-quarter time, 11-9-75 to Essendon, 11-5-71. Your goal kickers for Essendon, 3 to Sam Draper, 3 to Nate Caddy, and singles to Jai Caldwell, Sam Durham, Harry Jones, Jake Stringer, and Jai Menzies. And for Gold Coast, Mac Andrew has 3. Ben King also has 3. 2 to Jed Walter, both coming in that third quarter, and singles to Sam Flanders, Nick Holman, and Bailey Humphrey.
The voice of Jess Webster alongside Matt Clinch calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts. Will the Gold Coast Suns get their first away win on the road for 2024 and crush the Bombers' finals hopes? Or can they do what they did last week, the Bombers, and come from behind in the final term? At the MCG, Port Adelaide have found their way to the lead in the final term. They lead by just 2 points, 6-8-44 to the Demons, 6-6-42. We'll keep you across that in the final term. Great to have your company on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Hard against the boundary, Long keeps it alive. He might have lost Kelly. Taps it back to his own advantage. Cuts on his right. A centre and kick asking for Ben King to fly. He does against Mackay. Emerges with it. Mac Andrew, can he finish with a toe poke? He can. He made a lot harder work of it than he needed to, but I think it's just below his left knee.
Shield could send Essendon back inside forward 50. Stringer the target. Big fist came from Ballard. Ball to be won at half forward. Picked up by Davey. Gives it to Parrish. Pops the kick into the path of Caddy, who's marked 30 metres out directly in front. Nate Caddy is blossoming before our eyes for goal number 3. Sends it straight through the middle.
Draper and Weird spills down Nick Martin's way, hand pass to Kelly. Kick smothered by the determined Rowell. Spills out to Walter over his shoulder. He curls it back for a crucial goal.
Long. He marks inside the centre square. Turns around, pumps it long in the King direction. Knocked away from him by Mackay. Whistle on play. It's a free kick. Advantage is paid, and running into an open goal is Walter, who pops through his second in a couple of minutes.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
A big final term coming up for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. It's the Gold Coast Suns leading by 4 points. The Bombers need to keep winning to keep their season alive. Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Ball with their assessments at three-quarter time.
Well, it was a terrific quarter of footy, and you called it, Ram. Right? It felt like for the most part, the Gold Coast was on their terms. It was really, it's just that contest work. It's been pretty simple for them, hasn't it? Been absolutely brilliantly led by Matty Rowell. It's as good a game as I've seen him play for a long, long time. We know his efforts always without question, but it's been rewarded today. He's had 27 possessions. I mean, I think the kicking efficiency with Matty Rowell is a bit of a misnomer at times. He gets so much ball under real heat. 16 of those contested, 5 inside 56 tackles, and 7 score involvements, which is the big one for him today. So he's done it on the inside and out, and he's really led the way. embodied that contest and that pressure that Damien Hardwick, I guess, is really looking for from here on in and demanding, both in selection and from the group. And it's looked like, really, that it's flowed through the rest of the group. I thought their back six in particular that quarter were terrific. You mentioned there that the Bombers were really struggling to find a winner ahead of the ball, and apart from maybe Draper, who's looked pretty dangerous as a key forward, hasn't he, I think, and Nate Caddy as well, with kicking 3 goals each. Certainly at the drop of the ball, the Gold Coast held up really well behind the ball that quarter, and then it was just a real battle, a midfield battle in a sense. Both teams had their periods of ascendancy and have looked dangerous from centre bounce clearance. Probably in the end, the Gold Coast didn't quite get reward for effort in terms of their forward half entries that quarter, and that was really the reason why it's been so close. But anyone's game, isn't it? I mean, we know so much at stake for the Bombers from the Suns' point of view. Well, their 2025 starts now, we know, and they've got players that are playing for contracts and playing for spots and young players trying to make a good impression for their new coach going into next year. And really, the Bombers, it comes down to this 30 minutes for their season in a sense.
Freo led by 19 points at three-quarter time last week. The Bombers kicked 5 goals to 2 to come flying home. Can they do it again?
Oh, yeah, they certainly can do it. Now, I mentioned metres gained at half-time, and that was a real issue, I thought, for Gold Coast. They turned that around in that third quarter, so that was Gold Coast was 340 more metres gained from Essendon, and it looked like that. It looked like Gold Coast were more out in the open. It looked like they were bursting through stoppage. Paulie mentioned Matty Rowell. His ability to stay on his feet when he picks up the ball at ground level, whereas a lot of other players within the competition, you see them when they pick up the ball, they'll go to ground, and then that means they're out of the next passage of play. Rowell stays on his feet, drives his legs through, and then he's able to give a handball to his teammate, and they're out. Essendon's forwards need a lift. Particularly Stringer, particularly Kyle Langford.
Pressure.
Those two are the more experienced guys down there, so they need a lift out of those two this quarter. 14 apiece inside 50s in that quarter. Essendon only 2 goals, 1. Gold Coast 4 goals, 4. So they're going to lock the ball in their forward half in this final quarter, the Bombers.
Matt Rowell leads the way with 27 disposals. Nick Martin with 28. Redmond with 25. Parrish with 22. 20 for Closey and Flanders. Final quarter with so much to play for. The Bombers season their finals hopes here on the line as Brian wins down the tap against Wits. The Suns looking for their first away win of 2024. Ball stuck underneath the 2 ruckman. Umpire waits to see if it comes clear. Brian tries to knock it out to Caldwell. Hand pass for Durham. Gets a hand pass to Merritt. Inside 51st in the final term. Draper sliding out of the lead. Takes the mark. He's hard to miss. And he claims the mark on a 45-degree angle, 35 metres out from goal, having started at full forward in the final term.
And that's the one problem for Gold Coast. Centre bounce clearance is Essendon 17, Gold Coast 8.
That's clean ball too. Yeah. I mean, that was a contested, a bobbling ball around, and it was Merritt who were able to snap it up and exit from the front of the stoppage. And when Zach Merritt can do that, we're in a bit of trouble.
He's kicked 3 goals so far tonight to return the Bombers back to the front. The big Bomber comes in, hangs it out to the right, and never looked like kicking it.
Too busy thinking about his potential celebration, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, a minute into the final term, Suns lead by 3.
I was ready to say he's kicked the ball really well tonight, Sammy Draper. Not the most dangerous big man, certainly in the Bombers forward line.
Weller with the kick in for the Suns, goes long to Wits on the broadcast wing. Couldn't complete the mark. And the ball spills over the line. We're going to have a throw in just forward of halfway for Essendon. They trail the Suns by 3 points. The Suns led by a point at quarter time. Essendon by 11 at half time. The Suns by 4 at three-quarter time. And they're set up for a grandstand finish here under the roof.
Looks like Graham's gone to Merritt. This last quarter, usually Zach Merritt finds a way to have a big impact on the game.
From the ball in, Durham couldn't take it cleanly. Martin does. Sends Essendon back inside forward 50. Draper's the target at full forward. Sam Collins takes an impressive mark on the last line of defence for the Suns.
Great mark. I mean, he's been good too. It's been a terrific battle, hasn't it? Fascinating battle.
Yeah. He hasn't done much wrong, Sam Collins.
Eyes dart left and right, trying to find an avenue out of defence. Kicks up towards Andrew and Witts. Bounces in front of the two. Laverty got it from Bryans. Tries to get it back to him through the head back. Wanting a free kick. No whistle. Hobbs up to the 50. Caldwell in from the side. Knocks it away from Anderson. Into the path of Durham. He kicks a centering ball looking for Langford or Draper. In from the side. Close, he makes the spoil. Closer to goal though. Gets the hand pass to Anderson. He chips it towards Flanders. Or in the end it's a good mark taken at right half back as Noah Anderson, in fact it's Graham who looks for options at right half back, and Mac Andrew takes the mark.
Essendon have lacked all night, so Clarsey makes a spoil, then goes and cleans up his own ball.
Andrew down the line, the kick has been picked off by Merritt, who pulls the kick to Stringer just forward of halfway. Just holds it up momentarily as he tries to find an option inside forward 50. Runs inboard from adjacent to the centre square. Kicks a high ball inside forward 50. Jones brought it to ground, then turns tackler. How will the umpire see this? He calls for it. 15 metres out from Essendon's goal. Suns by 3 points. They're pressing early, the Bombers. Draper takes it out of the ruck cleanly, but he was tackled by Lemons. Ball squirts into the pocket, picked up by Gresham, a centering ball. Witts and Bryan underneath it. Witts spoils it down, straight to Roberts, a second gamer, who sends it through the middle. And the Bombers are back in front. Essendon 12-6-78. Gold Coast 11-9-75. 4 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Luke Ball and Adam Ramanauskas.
He pushed up there with his direct opponent in Jake Rogers, so I think Rogers playing on a half-forward flank. They've dropped Roberts back to a half-back flank there. Nick Munn's come up onto the wing, so Rogers got himself too far inside defensive 50. Roberts stayed back, so Roberts and Rogers is a bit of a mouthful. Yes. This one, Clichy. But Archie Roberts there, perfect positioning. I love the contest of Nick Bryan there. He comes in, makes the spoil, and then Archie Roberts' first goal. He won't forget that one in the Raw.
What a time for the 18-year-old to make his statement here at Docklands, to put his Bombers back in front by 3 points. They've dominated with the opening 4 inside 50s. Back in the middle, Witts and Bryan. It spills down the way of Noah Anderson. A clearance for the Suns. Inside 50, clears Long and Kelly. Charging out Ben King, can't take it. Racing back onto it, McGrath. Hand pass to the back of Caldwell. Turns around to receive it. Kicks up to Merritt on the wing. Can't take the mark. In from the side, Anderson. But a good hand pass from Merritt to Caldwell through the corridor. Shield trying to gather it. He slaps it forward to Davey. That'll work. Hand pass to Sammy Durham from 30. Misses to the right-hand side. Almost a perfect build-up for the Bombers. They lead by 4 points.
Oh, dangerous kicking from Hewlin, looking for Lemons, coming across and chopping it off is Gresham. Sends the ball over the boundary line for a throw-in, 40 around from the Bombers' goal.
Just wasn't there. But the T space that Jay Gresham gave was too close, so sometimes you just got to take your medicine and kick to your ruckman long down the line if you're kicking out from fullback.
Intensity is lifting. Final term here at Docklands. Essendon by 4. Ball back into play. Spills down to Lemons, who just hacks it out of the danger zone. Laverty in front position. A diving effort. Couldn't complete the mark. Andrew goes in for the Suns. Couldn't take it cleanly. Parrish has a go for Essendon. His kick smothered by Anderson. Rao goes in hard. Couldn't take it with him. Roberts does. His hand pass to Hobbs. Andrew tackles him. Ball up on the dockside wing.
Hot footy, isn't it? Hot footy. Yeah, with your good players around the ball at the moment. You can just see them starting to lift. Merritt for the Bombers. Rowell and Anderson for the Suns.
At the MCG, Cozzy Pickett has kicked his 4th, and the Demons lead Port Adelaide by 4 points. We'll keep an eye on both as Durham at left half forward. Bumped by Humphrey, drives a kick into the pocket. It bounces in front of Lemons and Collins. Collins straps it straight over the boundary. Umpire says throw it in. Craig McRae must be sitting back having a red wine, smiling as he watches the footage tonight.
Smiling.
What else can you do?
That would infuriate him.
Yeah, he just needed to grab it, didn't he? Yeah. His momentum could have taken it over.
Collins trounces back to position. Witts wins down the tap. It comes the way of Holman. Kicks a high ball up the wing. Mac Andrew worked out of it. Laverty.
He's got to compete there, Mac Andrew.
Got to come to ground.
Yeah. Just can't let Laverty take an intercept mark there.
Essendon by 4 points. Laverty bombs it long into attack. Draper goes to ground. Out the back is Langford. Draper takes the grab.
Oh, now who do you want the ball in the hands of?
Free kick going the way of Draper.
This is where I think this is a bit of a silly quirk in there. Draper's going to get it, isn't he? The free kick overrides the mark, which I don't think it should, Rammer.
It is going the way of Sam Draper.
Well, what happened first?
Yeah. But I think it should be almost up to the team because it potentially disadvantages them.
The opposition could say, well, I stopped when I heard the whistle.
Yeah.
Which it looked like sort of Hewland did. So I think it's always the first action that
Who would Essendon fans want the ball in the hand of?
Oh,
well, tonight
Langford hasn't been kicking great.
True. And on today's form, this bloke's put 3 through the big sticks. His last one wasn't much good, but I'll back him here.
Draper's got 3. The kick is on its way. And he's missed. 2 behinds to Sam Draper in this final quarter. And it may come back to cost Essendon. They do hold a 5-point advantage. 12-8-80 Suns, 11-9-75. 8 travelled final term on ABC Sport.
Just that loop ball elephant on his shoulders as Powell comes back into play for the Suns. Kicks up towards Witts and Bryant. Ben King's there as well. Jared Witts, what a mark. Just wrestled his way to the front to claim an impressive contested mark. He turns and comes inboard to Weller. Right half back for the Suns. Up towards half forward. Long comes crashing through. Off the hands of Humphrey. Swallows into the action. He's given away a free kick. Laying the tackle on Ben Mackay, who didn't have possession. Go down to Rory Campbell in a moment and work out who the sub is. As the kick comes inboard to McGrath. Left half back for the Bombers. With a precise pass to Merritt, who gets the hand pass away to Martin. Links up with Roberts into the pocket. Stringer 1-on-1. You like him in this scenario. Just was able to hold off Powell and take the mark in the left forward pocket.
It looks impressive, Archie Roberts. Look, all left footers look impressive in my book. But just the smarts there to recognise the 1-on-1 inside forward 50 with Stringer. Takes a good strong mark.
It's had a relatively quiet night. Jake Stringer, just the 7 disposals and 1 goal. As he starts his approach at left half forward from 48 metres out. Jake Stringer, it's across the face of goal. Draper wrestles against a couple and it goes through for a minor score. The Bombers by 6 points. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Jed Walter's been pulled out of the game for the Suns and David Swallow injected into the game, so the Suns may be going for a bit of a smaller look at the moment in this last quarter, maybe finish with some run.
Big call, giving a kick 2 in the third quarter.
Weller from the kick in. Bombs it long to the wing. Witts again, another strong grab over
Very imposing, isn't he?
Bryan.
Yeah, that's two. He's got to get a fist to that, Nick Bryan.
Well, you can see the leaders from both teams. I mean, Merritt's having a real influence on this last quarter.
Defensive side of the wing. Witts kicks it down the line. Long brings it to ground. Holman tries to keep it alive. He hand passed it into McGrath. It ricochets off him. It's out of bounds on the full. Is the call from the boundary umpire. So Holman has hand passed it into the legs of McGrath. It's gone out of play. And it's going to be a free kick the way of Holman in front of the interchange gates. Essendon by 6 points as Holman. Oh, that's a wobbly kick off the boot towards half forward. It spills to ground. Rao trying to keep it alive. He does. Collects. Hand passes to Holman. Gives it to Anderson. His hand pass couldn't find a target. Durham picks it up for the Bombers. He's turned it over by hand. Powell looping hand pass to Long. All alone at right half forward for the Suns. Kicks it to a 1-on-3. And Jones takes the intercepting grab for the Bombers in the last line of defence.
Gets it away to Redmond, who kicks as far as he can. A barrel out towards Davey. It clears him. And Weller racing back to have support. Butterick was clean when he needed to be. Gathers and kicks up to Closey at left half forward for the Suns, trailing by 6 points. Closey veers onto his right. Inside 50, swallows the target. Can't take the mark. Back went Langford. He can't complete it as well. Ball at ground level. Sexton comes charging through. He's locked up in the left forward pocket for the Suns by Kyle Langford. And the umpire readies himself to throw it in the air. The Suns have not kicked a goal since the 19-minute mark of the third term. The Bombers have dominated inside 50s, 8-2 in this final term. Through traffic, Laverty from the ball up. Hand pass away to Flanders. End over end. What a finish in the left forward pocket. Sam Flanders come on down with his second goal of the match and scores a level at 81 apiece. 12-9-81 at the 12-minute mark of the final term on ABC Sport.
He worked through that contest really well. So his direct opponent there is Mason Redmond. He just goes to sleep, Redmond. He's got to be on boundary side.
Ben Long, great tackle. Ben
on
Long.
Lane.
Yeah, Long again. Long
Laverty.
involved again. Yeah, Ben Long. Effective forward tackles are just worth their weight in gold, aren't they? And yeah, clever finish from Flanders, who hasn't had as much of the footy.
No, he's had that match-up with McGrath.
Yeah, but it's he certainly had an impact on the game.
A dribbling shot on goal, which would make Peter Dacos proud as he made it talk from the left forward pocket.
Well, usually you'd say we've got the close one, Clinchy, but the scores are level at the MCG as well.
MCG, 7-9-51 apiece after Port Adelaide.
Amazing day of footy.
Quentin Narcolis put through a goal to draw scores level with 7 minutes to go there.
It's all happening Saturday night footy on ABC Sport from the middle. Umpire has found a free kick. It is going the Gold Coast Suns' way. So Mac Andrew has moved into the ruck for the Suns. Draper standing on the mark, not sure what it was for. Andrew can send the Suns forward. He gets around Draper on the mark and sends it high up and under towards full forward. Long in the pack, almost came down with it. Martin swoops on it. Shares it with Jones, back to Martin in the right back pocket. Exits defensive 50, Yulin and Caddy in a one-on-one. It gets out the back, Durham keeps it alive against the boundary line, wobbles the kick down the line. It might work out as Hobbs runs onto it, taps it to his advantage, but he runs out of room. The ball trickles out of play, and we're going to have a throw-in on the City side wing. Scores level here at Docklands, 12-9 apiece. Bombers have kicked 1-4 to the Suns, 1 goal so far in this final quarter.
Bombers need to win to keep their season alive. Suns looking for their first road win on the 2024 season. Thrown in, it's Davies who's doing the ruck work against Draper. Draper just slaps it forward. Powell can't gather it cleanly. Onto a shield, draws an opponent, hand pass to Martin inside 50. Davies takes the mark directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
He's having a good quarter, Nick Martin. Again, he's just a player, isn't he? He's recognised these big moments. He kicked 2 goals in the last quarter last week. He's just become such a consistent player for the Bombers.
Just keeps turning up.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Works hard, keeps getting to the right spots.
5 goals straight for the season. The son of a gun, Alwyn Davey Jr. He leans back, it's out to the right, and it clears Stringer and a few other hands and through for a minor score. The Bombers lead by that point. 14 and a half minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Connor Butterick with the kick-in duties for the Suns. He runs into the pocket, then winds up and kicks long to a contest on the wing. King and Draper in a one-on-one. Draper with the fist that spills down a row, trying to slip the shield tackle. Gets a hand pass out just in time. Swallow picks it up. He's tackled to the turf. They've got a ball up on the wing. Essendon by a point. Everything on the line for them. Rao. Hand passes to Swallow. Tackled by Shield. Brought to ground. Umpire calls for it again. Ball up left half forward for Essendon.
It's been enormous for ours. I'm not sure you'll find it. He could possibly try harder than he has today. He's trying to will his team over the line here.
Luke Ball and Adam Ramanaskas with you on ABC Sport. It comes down to Swallow, kicks up the wing, bouncing end over end. King comes up to present it against Mackay. Mackay gathers the footy. Hand pass to Menzies. Gets the hand pass away to Caldwell. Turns and chips inboard and finds Caddy. Wants to get the hand pass to Hobbs. Has to get around Graham. Almost got him by the back of the jumper. Hobbs breaks away. Kicks inside 50. Needs a flyer. No one there. And a good mark taken by Ballard at the very back. He hugs it to his chest in front of Langford.
Chips laterally to Closey. He's had a good game tonight. He marks still inside defensive 50. Holds up the play for Gold Coast. Now sends it long to the outer side. Mac Andrew from behind, but standing his ground in front and taking the grab is Mason Redmond, just forward of halfway. 1 goal apiece in this final quarter. The Suns by 4 at 3/4 time. Redmond chips short to Parrish at right half forward. 55 out from goal. Stringer offers a lead. He kicks over him, looking for Draper in the pocket. Ballard takes the mark. Did he nudge him out? No. The mark stands. Ballard kicks to the top of the defensive goal square and finds Butterick.
Essendon by a point. Port Adelaide by a point. They would have 2 games on at the same time. We'll look at both directions. As the Suns through David Swallow into the pocket. The mark is taken by Ballard. In fact, that's Anderson hard against the boundary in the right back pocket. The Bombers 12-10-82 to the Suns 12-9-81. Now Anderson Goes short and Butterick takes the mark. Still at right half back. 17 minutes gone, final term. Tries a long kick up the wing. Big fly from Ben King, shoved out of it. And Mackay takes the mark. It was rather careless in the end. Kick into the middle of the ground. It's a risky ball for Harry Jones. He gathers. Hand pass to Parrish. Cuts back on his left. Good vision. Goes short to Hobbs. Right on 50.
It's not good enough, Ben King.
Got to be stronger in the contest.
It's happened. I mean, you look at how hard. Look at Matt Rouse slouched over on the mark.
Hobbs had Martin running behind. He goes to Stringer in the pocket. He held it for a long time, not paid. Rogers got a hand in there late. Stringer over the foot. He has to try and knock it out. Closey lays the tackle. Langford trying to break away. Fires a hand pass towards goal. Weller deals with it for the Suns. Hand pass to Ballard. Surveying the options. Kicks out towards halfback. Ben King has to make a presence. Tackled by Mackay. Gets the hand pass away to Flanders. Slapped on by Swallow. Only as far as McGrath. Hand pass to Merritt.
He sends them back inside forward 50 and Stringer out the back takes the mark. He's got it. 40 metres out from goal, 45-degree angle to the left.
Merritt involved again.
Well, they had the numbers here.
Just been peppering. Yeah, they did.
So Ballard was a long kick out of defence. Mackay was able to hold the tackle with Ben King. And they just had numbers.
Jake Stringer for his 40th goal of season 2024. And to keep the Bombers' finals hopes alive. And he misses near side.
Just can't put them away, can they?
Margin
Bombers.
2 points. Essendon 12-11-83. The Suns 12-9-81. 19 travelled final term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Port Adelaide by 2 points at the MCG as well. So we'll keep you across both games on ABC Sport. As the Suns look to bring the ball back into play. Weller up towards Ben King, nudge underneath it, and Mackay takes the mark. He's won that battle over the last few minutes. Mackay's kick smothered by King though. Spills out to Davies. Draper lays the tackle. Hand pass to Roberts. Hand pass to Merritt under pressure. Hand pass inboard. Yulin trying to break away from McGrath. Well done by the youngster. Chips it up to Ben King on the wing. He takes the mark. Hand pass back to Graham. He runs around the broadcast wing. A second bounce to right half forward. A third. McGrath up in chase. Gets him in the end. Andy McGrath drags him down. And that might be a season-saving tackle as Graham ran as far as he could inside 50, but McGrath got him in the end.
Outstanding, Andy McGrath.
Great chase.
McGrath kicks to Shield, kicks to Martin from inside offensive 50, flares the kick out wide to Laverty, is marked at right half back. Hand passes back in board to Martin. Spearing kick down the line is marked by Gresham on halfway. City side wing, he kicks in board to Dylan Shield. He's marked on the edge of the centre square. Essendon by 2 points. Shield kicks backwards to Kelly at centre half back. Has Merritt in space on the dockside wing. Finds him. Chips it short. Mackay presents and marks in front of the interchange gates. 2 points is their lead. Mackay chips it short to Roberts. Kicked his first goal in the AFL in this last quarter. He kicks into the pocket, looking for Caddy over his head. Out the back, the Suns defence under pressure. Butterick coughs it up to Merritt, who chips it forward to Stringer. Plays on, snaps around the corner, he's missed. Another chance gone begging for Essendon. They hold a 3-point lead in this final quarter. 12-12-84 plays Gold Coast 12-9-81. 20 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport. Let's get down to Rory Campbell.
Bit of cramp starting to creep into this game. Harry Jones has been getting stretched out on the bench for the Bombers.
3 behind, so Jake Stringer in this final term. Yulins kicks up to Ben King, who reaches up and takes the mark in front of Mackay. The Bombers had them up against the ropes, but they can't finish the job. Port Adelaide by 2 points at the MCG. Risk kicking in the middle of the ground, set a real challenge for Lemons, and Nate Caddy takes the mark. So on the results at the moment, Port Adelaide would jump to second. The Bombers would move to 7th, with the Blues and the Bulldogs still to play. Stringer marks in the centre square. He looks up, drives it inside 50 in the direction of, Menzies and Gresham. They were outsized, and Ballard makes the spoil, another behind. 1 goal, 7. 1 goal, 8 in the final term for the Bombers. They lead by 4 points, 21 minutes gone, final term.
Who's got some run left in their legs here for the Suns? They look out on their feet. There's plenty of time left. Don't need to panic or do anything silly. can work the ball down the ground here.
Power from the kick in, short to Rao. Takes off and sends it long to the broadcast wing to a contest. Mackay once, twice, yes. Taking another contested grab over Ben King on the wing. Wants to use the corridor, kicks it into the centre square and finds Shield.
Full time at the MCG. Port Adelaide prevailed by 2 points to their second on the AFL ladder.
Shield kicks it all the way to the city side wing, but finds Laverty is marked in front of Andrew. Still on halfway. Laverty chips laterally to Kelly inside the centre square. They're conceding ground here, the Bombers. It's hard to watch if you're a Bombers fan as Kelly tries to find Roberts. He's taken a great mark in the end under pressure. Flares the kick out wide to Parrish. From the wing, now they go forward inside 50, looking for Stringer on the lead, knocked away from him by Ulam. Ball still alive inside the boundary line. Great tackle from Holman, and it's rewarded against Merritt. It's a push. Free kick to Zach Merritt, 52 metres out from goal, plays on quickly, sends it to a dangerous position, big fly from Butterick, couldn't come down with it, picked up by Gresham, he's tackled to the ground, ball spills loose, plenty of numbers around this, Langford has a go, he's stripped to the footy, Hobbs sockers it off the deck, ricochets off Butterick, Rowell in there for the Suns, applying the pressure and diving over the top of a couple of Bombers and locking the ball up, 35 metres out from the Bombers goal, Essendon by 4 points.
3 minutes and 11 seconds going. Turn the dial up. Draper out of the ruck. Tackle by Witts. Ball locked to his chest. The Bombers lead by 4 points, fighting to keep their season alive. Do the Suns have anything left in the tank? Thrown up. Draper and Whips. Witts wins down the tap. It spills out the way of Caldwell. Through traffic to Durham. Tries to break the Holman tackle. Head buster Zach Merritt. Is this his moment? The captain misses. 1 goal, 9 in the final term. They can't finish the job. They lead by 5 points, but the Suns have the footy.
Butterick from the kick in finds Collins at half back. Now they've got some run. Anderson off to Lemons, got to get rid of it. They turned it over. Davey with the pressure, picked up by McGrath, gets around Collins, then Anderson. Hand pass, he's coughed it up. Rowell at half back for the Suns. Witts has a go. He's stripped to the footy. It's a hard ball to be won at half forward for Essendon. Umpire lets it play. It spills loose. Flanders tries to tap it on. Laverty's there for the Bombers. Gets around Flanders. Hand passes to Martin at half back. Has a fumble, then recollects. Hand passes to McGrath, then gives it to Caddy. He just hacks it inside forward 50 to a one-on-one. Butterick back with the flight of the ball. Gresham pushes him out of the way. Then runs into an open goal.
Play the push.
It's a free kick going the way of Gold Coast. I don't think the Bombers fans have realised it just yet.
Certainly haven't. I think it was there.
So a free kick to Connor Butterick in the left back pocket for the Suns. Essendon by 5 points.
Just over 2 minutes to go. The Bombers fans thought they were home. Ballard now. Can he answer back for the Suns? Inboard to Anderson at left half back. Essendon by 5 points. 12-14-86 to the Suns 12-9-81. The Bombers have kicked 1-9 in the final term. To Powell at centre half back. Out to Holman on the broadcast wing. Looks up one-on-ones inside 50. Kicks to Rogers. Right on 50 out to the right. King wants it in the goal square. Mackay racing back. Rogers looks for King on the lead. Pokes it out to him. Ben King up. Can't take the mark. And Mackay spoils it out of play. Right forward pocket for the Suns. With 1:30 to remain. The Bombers by 5 points.
Jakey Rogers. Not sure that was the best option. There's a little bit of inexperience there. Maybe getting the ball to a more dangerous spot. Anyway, they get a forward stoppage.
90 seconds left. Essendon by 5 points. Ball in the Suns forward 50. Rogers attacks the contest. Roberts right there with him. Rogers may have dragged it in. The umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. Ball up 25 metres out from the Suns' goal. They led by 4 points at three-quarter time. Essendon have given them every chance to steal this one here in the final quarter. Witts, hand passes to Rao, had a fumble. It spills out of play. We've got to throw in 35 metres around from the Suns' goal. Essendon by 5 points, just over a minute left.
Get comfortable on the edge of your seat. Suns inside their forward 50. Bombers lead by 5 points. A lot of hanging on going on in this stoppage as blocks are being made. Thrown in. Witts and Bryan. Bryan wins down the tap. Caldwell gathers. Bangs a kick out of defence. Collins and Draper. Collins in front. Did he hang on to it? He does. At right half forward. A minute to go.
Go inside. Change direction.
Sam Collins looks up. He pokes it into the pocket.
Sam.
It's over the head of Powell and it goes out of play. A throw in where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary. The moment the pressure is getting to everyone. The Bombers by 5 points. Hang on.
Give away free kick here, McAndrew.
As Kelly being put down off the ball, McAndrews is getting a word to. Umpire throws it back in.
Bryan against Whitson Ruck. Ball to be won at half forward. Rowell gives it to Lemons. He sends the Suns inside forward 50. Can they get a mark at the top of the square? Off hands. Who's there? Holman gathers. Has to break 2 tackles. Get rid of it. It goes over the line for a throw in. 40 metres around from the Suns' goal. They've locked it inside forward 50. Can they break through for a match-winning goal? Essendon by 5 points. 37 seconds left on the clock.
Got to find a way to get this over the back of his head. Jared Witts into space. There's a lot of numbers in front of him.
Every second matters. Thrown in. It clears Bryan and Witts. Flanders can't get a possession. Stringers in defence. Hand pass to Caldwell. Kicks up the wing. Draper and Collins once more. Collins taps into his own advantage. Kicks a chaos ball. McAndrews sets it. McAndrew, what a contested mark. The Packers crash behind him. And he might kick after the full-time siren.
He will.
Sam Collins just won.
How good was that?
Huge 50-50.
Well, he's done two.
Two against Sam Draper.
Unbelievable. The villain. Here come the boos.
The seconds count down. McAndrew will know this is the last kick of the match.
And he's a good kick, McAndrew.
And after Mitch McGovern last week for the Blues, for the second consecutive Saturday night, the match is going to be decided with McAndrews. As soon as he picks up the footy, the siren will sound.
Yeah. Jake Kelly's come off with the blood rule again, has he? Wow.
Essendon lead by 5 points. Their season hangs on the kick from McAndrew. He's kicked 3 goals tonight. He starts his approach. 35 metres out, directly in front. McAndrew, he's kicked it! And the Gold Coast Suns have won! Their first win on the road for 2024. A breakthrough win. And it breaks the Bombers' hearts. And the Essendon fans, disappointingly, are throwing drink bottles onto the field. But the Suns through McAndrews. He kicks the walk-off winner, and the Suns win by a point.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold, blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the top. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We're the team who never say die.
Everyone's trying to get their composure and take their breaths. The Suns led by a point at quarter time, the Bombers by 11 at half time, by 4 the Suns at 3/4 time, and then Essendon in the final term booted 1-9 to the Suns 2 straight. And McAndrews, after the full-time siren, cool, calm and composed, kicks the winner. A dagger into the hearts of the Bombers fans. The Suns, their first road winner 2024 by a point.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold, and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the top. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We're the team who never say die.
McAndrew with his 4th goal of the match kicks the winner, and Damien Hardwick goes nuts in the coach's box. There's a fair bit to unpack. The kick up to the wing to Sam Collins and Sam Draper. Collins won it. He kicked a chaos ball inside 50. The odds were against him, and Andrew took an impressive contested mark, which left everyone in his wake, and then did what Mitch McGovern couldn't do the week before, went back, composed himself, and looked every bit forward. 13-9-87 to the Bombers, 12-14-86. McAndrew finishes with 4 goals, 3 goals to Ben King, 2 to Walters and 2 to Flanders. Individuals to Holman, Humphrey for the Suns. While for the Bombers, 3 goals to Caddy, 3 goals to Draper. Individuals to Caldwell, Durham, Jones, Stringer, Roberts and Menzies. You can hear a pin drop at Docklands. 1 goal 9 in the final term, and unfortunately for the Bombers, they were banging down the inside 50 door in the final term. 19-8 the inside 50s, and the Suns walk away with the victory. Luke Ball, Adam Ramanauskas try and make sense of what we've just seen.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the story, isn't it, really? They'll rue that, the Bombers. They really did dominate that last quarter. They trapped the ball inside their forward half. They had the ball in good users' hands. All their good players were involved. Merritt, Martin, Stringer, just missed opportunities. You just felt like they'll land the knockout blow here at some stage, and it never came. And then it was up to, well, does this Gold Coast Suns team know how to win a close one? Do they have the composure? Do they have the leadership to be able to recognise moments? And in the end, it was that Sam Collins, you're right, who's had a wonderful year and is such a terrific player for them. He had a great battle all day with Sam Draper, who was one of the Bombers' best as well. But in the end, when those moments mattered, it was Collins that stood up. And Mac Andrew, well, we questioned the move to put him forward. Rammer, didn't we, at the start of the game, having looked so comfortable the first half of the year across half-back, wondered why he pushed forward, but in the end, he's the match winner. He kicks 4 goals and kicks the winner after the siren.
Just watch Damien Hardwick out there on the field. Now, we know he doesn't like coming to Docklands. I think he's just accidentally tried to walk into the wrong change rooms and he's had to turn around, and actually when he realised his Suns players are going to the other end of Docklands, so he's eventually found his bearings.
The security guard told him.
Yes.
Wrong rooms.
Yeah, so he's finally found his way, and he'll meet his players in the rooms.
Yeah, that's a few. They were great, the Suns. They ran out of gas there in that last quarter, but you can argue that they should have. They could have been 2 or 3 ahead at 3-quarter time. I thought they worked really hard, especially in that third quarter when it looked like the Bombers early were going to get on a bit of a run. So they were terrific. And I suppose the question is, where's that been? Where's that level of effort? Look, maybe the statement was made at selection with a few of those that went out of the team. That those that came in, I thought Long. We spoke about Rao's game enough, but I thought players like Ben Long had a real impact on just the way they played, not necessarily kicks, marks and handballs, but just their effort today, Ram, and that's all you called for. And I thought, that's their baseline now. They're not going to play finals this year, we know that, but looking ahead to next year, that's the level of effort that is required to play well away. And you look at it, you go, gee, how have they not won more games away from home, or how have they put up some of the performances they've put up this year away from home when you see the effort that they put in today?
It adds to a crazy day of results where we've seen upsets aplenty, and for Damien Hardwick, the Docklands curse has been broken. So Swamp Thing, who keeps across all these things, lets us know that it's been 1,183 days since Damien Hardwick said he hated coming to Docklands, that they've finally now tasted victory. Adam Ramanauskas, it's a hard one to sum up if you have the Bombers close to your heart.
Yeah, it is, and this is the thing. After that game, I'm a little bit disappointed in the Essendon supporters, to be honest with you, throwing bottles and the like on the ground. I don't think there's any need for it. I understand the emotion of losing a close game, but there's no need to do that. If that hit one of the Suns players and hurt them, that supporter would be in a lot of trouble. So we don't ever want to see that in our game. Yet be disappointed, certainly, but there's no need to throw things on the ground and throw things at opposition players. So, yeah, look, I think you go back to the last moment, and I go back to the game against Adelaide and what they learned from that game. Okay, so Adelaide there in that game is down the other end of the ground, and Richelli's able to score and kick the match winner. This moment, they did everything right, Essendon. They did absolutely everything right. They eventually get the ball out. Draper loses the contest to Collins. Ball goes back in, another stoppage. Draper loses the contest to Collins again. All Draper needed to do was get that ball over the line.
Yep. Let's join the Suns.
We are the Suns of the Gold Coast Sky. We are the ones in the red, gold and blue. Woo! We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play the wind, the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold up the cup. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the Suns Gold Coast go, the team will never say back.
Rory Campbell in the Gold Coast Suns rooms. We'll head back there as soon as we can get a reaction. The Suns prevailed by a point, 13-9-87 to the Bombers, 12-14-86 in front of 29,401 fans. So with Port Adelaide's narrow victory, means the Power surge up to second, and for the Bombers, at one stage they could have been seventh, but with that result they're now ninth, and most likely mathematically out of finals calculation, with a couple of tough games to come against Sydney on Friday night and the Brisbane Lions. So yes, unfortunately for the Bombers, now 2 points behind on 46 points for the season.
Yeah, well, it's done.
Yeah. I mean, look, depending on the result tomorrow, if Carlton do the job against Hawthorn, we might have a locked-in final 8. We'll wait and see. We know it's been that sort of year that you wouldn't rule out some more topsy-turvy results over the last couple of weekends. But yeah, I mean, what a day of footy. Incredible day of footy. The AFL will be sitting back smiling like Cheshire Cats off the back of the results today.
Let's head back to the Gold Coast Suns rooms, winners by a point, down to Rory Campbell.
Here with Jared Witts, guys. Jared, you've got an away win this season. You must have been chasing it for a while. It must be hugely satisfying to get over the line.
Yeah, amazing feeling. We played it right to the last second, didn't we? Well, they had the run there in pretty much the last quarter, and they obviously missed a few shots, and then kept us in the game. And I think Collo had a really, really important contest there at the end and got it back in for us. And Mac, I feel like Mac's made for those moments. He loves that stuff. So it's as smooth as they come.
You say you took it right until the last second. You took it beyond that. It was after the final siren. I mean, I imagine you were backing him in when he was lining up there?
Yeah, obviously backing him in. Like I said, I think Mac, no moment's too big for Mac, and he showed that then. So he went back, collected himself, and to be honest, off the boot, I wasn't quite sure. But rest is history. Yeah.
He's really emerging into something. We've seen him playing forward. We've seen what he does down back, and I guess he showed that element of cool, calm collectedness tonight. The Bombers fans were giving it to him for a lot of that second half.
Yeah, he obviously is an extremely competitive person. I know he can take the big marks, he can do the athletic stuff, but at heart he's a really competitive person, and that he put himself in a position to win the game, and there you go.
I'll throw it over to the team upstairs. We've got Matt Clinch, Jess Webster, Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Ball.
Oh, Witchy, well done, mate. That's a great reward. Yeah, well done. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate.
That's good. Yeah, great. And I thought all your leaders, you mentioned Sam Collins. Yeah, his last minute there was superb. Had a great battle all night. But you taking some big marks on the wing here, and Matty Rowe's performance across the whole night. Noah late. It just looked like to us up here that there was a real baseline of effort and intensity. And look, perhaps that was said on Thursday night at selection. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And I think to start the game as well, our tackling was a little bit off, and I thought we cleaned that up. And like you said, I thought Rowley was great tonight. His work around the stoppage, he was taking the tackle on. He was bringing guys into the game around the ball. And then, as you said, as Collo, he's as solid as anything. He's had a superb year, and that's his baseline now. He's a special player, and we're lucky to have him. Yeah,
I mean, you're not going to take part in September. We know that this year. But I'd imagine with Damien in particular, the talk would have very much turned this week to, okay, 2025 starts now. We're not going to waste these next 3 weeks. And when it comes to effort and intensity and integrity of selection, I'd imagine that would have been the message this week.
Yeah, I think, obviously, without going too deep into the past, we haven't finished years off very well. I think that's stating the obvious, and we want to turn that around. We've got another couple of games to go now, and they're all games we want to put ourselves in a position to win, and we think we can win. So, we want to steam through to the finish line.
And that finish line, that continues on, obviously, but it's probably been players that I think you've found and unearthed that look like really good players for the future. Witsy, Will Graham, Chloe Hesse, like Connor Butterick. I know he's had some unfortunate luck with injury, but Brodie Hewlin, Ben Long going forward now. Mac Andrew, you mentioned. Jake Rogers looked really good tonight. The future actually does look bright. I think we look at the negative too much with the Gold Coast, but the future actually looks really rock solid.
Yeah, definitely. Some of those guys that you've mentioned have been some of our better performers this year. And one thing that they all do really well is that they're really good in the contest, and that puts them in a position to play every week. And look, obviously they're still young players and they're developing, so you don't want to put too much pressure on them. But like you said, that those guys like Will Graham and stuff, like he's as hard as they come in the contest, and so is Bodie. So like there's a baseline there for those guys, and they play a hard brand of footy. So there's a lot to work with for sure.
What about just in terms of the way you wanted to play tonight? Bally mentioned the selection, but was it simply just about effort and intensity around the ball? Because the first half looked like that. It looked like a real contest. You wanted to win contested football clearance. But then in the second half, particularly that third quarter, it looked like the shackles broke a little bit and the ball movement started to come into your game.
We've got obviously a process and a way that we want to play, and at different times throughout the year we've been able to do that. We've had really good patches of footy. We've obviously let ourselves down at different times and haven't put in consistent four-quarter games. But we talk about the process of winning and playing a solid brand of footy that gives us a chance to win the game. And I thought tonight we were able to do that in large chunks.
Jared Witt's with us on ABC Sport. Jared, it's Jess Webster here. Congratulations on 100 games as captain. You've been around the club obviously a long time. I just want to get your thoughts into how you kind of sum up this season. You've equalled your best record of 10 wins so far. You've beaten finals contenders GWS, Geelong, Essendon twice, Collingwood, Port Adelaide, but yet you won't make finals. So how do you feel about season 2024? Is it a success in your mind?
Well, it's different. It definitely feels different. I feel like we've grown and we've learned a lot. We've taken on what Dimmer's tried to bring in and the system that he's tried to introduce, and I think we have got better as a team. I know that doesn't always... We obviously get based on outcome and result, and we understand that, but I feel like as a club and as a footy team, we've definitely improved, and it does feel different. It does feel different.
And just on Hardwick, he finally breaks his run of 9 losses in a row here at Docklands. When you saw him for the first time after the siren, what was the expression on his face?
Yeah, it was obviously stoked. It has been a long time coming, and we're obviously ecstatic to get the win down here, and carry that forward hopefully next week.
Jared, 100 games to you as Gold Coast Suns captain. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's a privilege to lead this club. We've been doing it for a little while now, and watch the club grow. Obviously, we didn't have the year and the finish that we would have liked, but I'm proud of where the footy club's going. I'm proud of the hard work that we've put in, and just looking forward to, like I said, finishing off the year strongly.
And you sort of give us a bit of an insight into Mac Andrew. How will he handle the 24 hours that'll follow after kicking the match winner?
I think he'll be okay. He's pretty calm. He's pretty cruisy unit, so I think he'll be all right. He'll take it in his stride.
There'll be some Instagram action, I reckon. Which he, I thought.
I hope there's not too much.
He obviously had the free kick against St Kilda when you were at Docklands against Max King. How much did that sort of wrestle with him losing a one-on-one matchup like that and sort of dealing with that and then obviously now playing as a forward?
Well, that's a long time ago. It was obviously disappointing, that game, that finish. But like I said, he moves on pretty quick, Mac. He gets on with it, and he's put himself in a position to win the game.
Good on you, Jared. It goes down in footy folklore when you kick a winner like that. Congratulations on your first win on the road for 2024.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jared Witts, the Suns co-captain, joining us on ABC Sport after their 1-point win, 13-9-87 to the Bombers, 12-14-86. So how did they manage to do it, Rammer and Paulie? The Bombers had their chances, 1-9 in the final term, inside 50s, 19-8. They were able to withstand
Well,
whatever.
they didn't withstand it. They weren't exactly absorbing sort of Essendon's onslaught. I think it was Essendon that really threw the chances away just with poor kicking. 1-9. So, as you said, 19 inside 50s. There was multiple set shots that Essendon missed. There was snaps directly in front that Essendon missed. So, it wasn't like Essendon kicked only 1 goal or 2 goals for the quarter. It was 10 scoring shots to 2 for the quarter. So, but that's football. Like sometimes you just got to ride your luck. You got to ride your luck in a game and Gold Coast rode their luck in that last quarter and took it down to the last couple of minutes. And like I said, I actually thought Essendon played that last couple of minutes quite well. It's just Sam Draper couldn't win 2 critical contests. and he got beaten hands down in both of those contests by Sam Collins. The first one, Sam Collins missed the kick, and Ballie's banged the table because he wanted Sam Collins to kick it to the teeth of the goal square, but he went wide and it was out of bounds again. Then the second time,
learned his lesson, didn't he?
He did, and he's absolutely nailed one to 20 metres out, and to Mac Andrews' credit, he comes and takes a towering mark. So that's football sometimes. Like, you play 120 minutes or 118 minutes of a game, and then you finally get the ball into your half of the ground for the final 2 minutes, and it's the 2-minute NFL drill. Can we go down and score?
Round 9, 2023 was the last time the Gold Coast Suns won on the road. That was in Perth, so they break that streak. But for the Bombers, their hearts break as their season is now done.
We love Swamp on Twitter because it always brings the most amazing content. And this, I think, is a stat that has to be up there for him. Most recent goals to win after the siren in AFL games. Tonight against Essendon. Last year, round 16, Dan Houston against Essendon. Round 19, 2022, Jamie Ellett against Essendon. That's heartbreak. Yeah. I think that probably sums up the experience for Essendon fans in recent years. That's harsh.
It certainly is. So what a Saturday night of footy. The Suns prevailing by a point, and meaning the Bombers' season is done. Port Adelaide by 2 points at the MCG. 7-11-53 to the Demons, 7-9-51 in front of 17,867 fans. The Demons led for large portions of the night, but Port Adelaide kicked 2 goals, 3 to Melbourne's 1-4 in the final term, led by some work in front of goal by Charlie Dixon and Quentin Narkle, who kicked the goal to go in front. So Dixon and Jason Horne-Francis finished with 2 goals for Port Adelaide. Cosy Pickett with 4 goals for the Demons, and individual goal scorers for the rest for Melbourne. So this crazy season continues to roll on, and the upsets today has been incredible. When you think of the Giants prevailed over the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba, they moved to second, now third on the AFL ladder. 13-4-82 to the Lions, 8-16-64. The Eagles pinch a win by 5 points with Oscar Allen kicking the winning goal with 18 seconds to go, and Geelong by 11 points over the Dockers to keep their top 4 hopes alive. So it's hard to know what to predict as we release listeners, if they haven't left already, to the Olympics through our regional coverage. And for everyone else, we'll continue on, but it's hard to know what to predict.
Well, I'm just watching Will Setterfield out there on the Docklands at the moment.
The black singlet. He doesn't even have the club polo or the gear on.
I'm tipping he would have been handy around contests tonight against Matt Rowell. Matt Rowell, I thought ultimately was the difference in that game. He was the one Gold Coast midfielder that was just consistent through the 4 quarters with his effort. He's had an enormous game. He's finished with, what's he finished with? I'm just getting it up here.
Let me change this for you. I've got the screen on the wrong screen.
He's finished with 32 possessions. He's had 20 contested possessions. He's had 9 clearances. 7 scoring.
7 tackles, yeah.
7. It's just an enormous game of football. So you look over the other side. Like Zach Merritt tried his absolute heart out, I thought.
Nick Martin was as well.
Martin was really good.
Yeah.
But I thought Clohessy was really good for Gold Coast. Sam Flanders had a terrific game. Will Graham, particularly, he had some moments in that last quarter. Nick Holman, I thought, just that harder edge that they needed. Well, critical of Ben King in that last quarter, but he ended up taking one of those marks to release Gold Coast out of Essendon's forward half. So, look, it's a funny game, football. It's a really funny game, and I think Essendon will look back on a couple of games this season and go, well, we should have won those games. It's as simple as that, and that's the difference between making a final series and finishing just outside the 8. So
15 rounds in the top 8, 9 rounds in the top 4. Round 20 they lost their spot, and they've won 3 wins of their last 10.
There you go.
There's a sense of deja vu.
It feels like the season's over. We know that. Just looking at the ladder now, as of tonight, they're only half a game with that draw that they've had behind Carlton and the Bulldogs, who play tomorrow and don't have easy games tomorrow, as we know. So, look, the message will be that they don't. as it has been, in fairness to Brad Scott, they need to keep trying to arrow in on a reliable and consistent way of playing, and they know that when they do that, we get what we saw last week, and especially in that last quarter, a good result against the top 8 team. At the moment, there's still some fluctuations in their games. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that's what they've got to iron out. They're still, I think they're still a work in progress. They still look like a midfielder away.
Yep.
They need another key defender. That's going to be Zach Reed when he is fit and available. You can't rely on Sammy Draper to kick 3 or 4 goals each week. Nate Caddy looks like he's going to be a good player for Essendon, but he's young key forwards take time. We saw Jed Walter tonight. He's a top 3 draft pick from last year. He was subbed out of the game. He had kicked 2 goals and had 7 possessions. Caddy's had 15 possessions and kicked 3 goals, 1. So they do take time, those key forwards. And look, winning games when they're tight, like I said earlier, is what decides whether you do finish in the top 8 or you don't. And Essendon have given up too many of those now.
Is there a trend when you think of their loss to Adelaide, here at Docklands?
I thought they handled the last part of tonight's game a lot better. Now, 1 goal 9 and 18 inside 50s. So the ball was there, but there's just the 2 critical moments at the end of that game. So Sam Collins wins that 1-on-1 where Draper should have taken the ball out, and then the ball goes inside forward 50 into a pack situation, and Mac Andrews good enough to mark that ball. Should be spoiled. That's in a big contest like that, you should have enough numbers there to go and spoil that ball, and Essendon simply weren't able to do that.
Do you like what you saw from the Brian Draper combination? Peter Wright's playing the seconds at the moment. That's it looks like it's worth persisting with.
It's probably more than Nick Bryan. I like hitting in the ruck. Yeah. Witts is a good player. Yeah. Witts is a strong player, and Brian's not quite there in terms of his total physical strength yet. But I thought he competed really well against Jared Witts tonight. What's he had? 15 possessions. Brian Witts has had 14. So I thought that's the bonus probably of the last 2 weeks where Brian's come into the team. Last week was against Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson. Tonight it's against Jared Witts. And the other bonus of that is Draper's probably proven that he can play forward a little bit. I think they'll be disappointed tonight, Essendon, with Stringer and Langford. They just didn't. It wasn't enough for them in the forward line. Essendon will talk about the free kick against Gresham. It was probably there, considering a couple of the others that were given tonight. So it was probably there. But credit goes to Gold Coast. They played the last moment better, and that's the thing. You got to play every second of the game to win it.
I was just trying to remember who the free kick against Jade Gresham was against. Butterick, that's right. Because it's a funny game at 2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining. He's running into the open goal thinking he's kicking the match winner. But it felt like
at the same time, so you look so the free kick happens and Gresham kicks the ball. So there's probably 30-odd seconds from where Gresham's kicked the ball and everyone thought it was a goal.
Yeah.
The ball comes back to Butterick. He finds a loose outside Essendon.
At centre-half back.
Outside Essendon's foot. You've got so much time to go and find your direct opponent there.
So this is the question I was going to ask. It felt like with a 5-point lead, they thought they could just defend it from that stage.
Yeah.
And in the end, they pushed everyone into the defensive half and thought if we get our numbers back, surely they won't score, which says one thing about the attitude and the training and preparation, but then it says another thing about sort of how impressive Mac Andrews' mark was.
That was a towering mark. Absolute towering.
But I can't imagine other top 8 clubs thinking that that's the way they're going to win by just hanging on and parking.
Well, other top 8 clubs are probably 4 or 5 goals ahead, to be honest, having 19 inside 50s and what was it? 12 shots. The game's over. So someone just had to take their opportunity late in that game, late in that quarter, just to kick the seal, just to put it to bed, and that didn't happen. And I was trying to think who had probably the most gilt-edged opportunity. I mean, Stringer looked dangerous all night, didn't he? Yeah.
Stringer kicked 3 behinds in the final.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and Draper missed an easy one in that final quarter as well. So that's it, really. I mean, that's It's almost as simple as that at times, isn't it?
Who's been more disappointing in season 2024, Essendon or Gold Coast?
Well, I think from the halfway point, you'd have to say Essendon if they're not going to go on and play finals, given the way they were playing. And the win-loss was one thing, but I just felt like the way they were playing, they turned the corner a bit. I still think they have taken strides, Ram. I mean, you probably watch them. You do watch them more closely than me, but I just think, I think across the board, I know it's fallen away, but across the board, I think they are more reliable. I think, and when you think about Durham and Caldwell and these sort of players, I think it, regardless of where they finish up, it has been a step forward, albeit from where they were, pretty disappointing not to play final.
Yeah, and I agree with that. What did you say? It was 2 of their last 10 they've won.
Two of their last 10.
Yeah, I think from where they were, Essendon, to where
3 of their last 10,
to where they are now, they should have played finals from that position. They also need to find another user out of halfback.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I think their defence has certainly improved this year, but you want Nick Martin further up the ground.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ball that's backward of centre for Nick Martin. You want Nick Martin using the ball forward of centre. So whether that's going to a wing or a half forward flank for him. I thought Archie Roberts looked really good tonight. He did some good things. He ended up with, what did he end up with? Archie Roberts. He ended up with 16 possessions and a goal. But I thought it was his ball use. He went to half-back in that last quarter, and a couple of critical one-on-ones he was able to win. But that left foot ball use was really good. So that's probably an area that I think they can focus on in the off-season, going to find probably another really good user across half-back. And I still think they're one midfielder short, even with Parrish in the team. Parrish was particularly good early. He had 15 in the first quarter. Then he's ended up with 27. He did look a little bit sore as the game wore on. There was mention of the medical staff looking at his calf. But they do need it. They've certainly found 2 more midfielders in Durham and Caldwell, but I think they're a part of the rotation. So go and find another mid. Is it going to be Hobbs? I'm not totally sure on that just yet. Is it going to be Sardis? I'm not totally sure on that just yet. So can they go and find an established one? Perkins, potentially, yeah. Like Perkins probably played his best games of football when he's played as a midfielder, but he just hasn't had those continued opportunities in there for whatever reason.
Adam Romanascus, Luke Ball, Matt Clinch, Jess Webster with you following the Gold Coast Suns 1-point win over the Bombers. Rory Campbell's made his way to the Bombers' rooms. Rory, I'm imagining the scenes are pretty predictable down there.
Yeah, not quite the joyous scenes that we saw in the Gold Coast Suns rooms, as you can imagine. That said, it's not completely downcast. The players had a bit of time with the supporters and the loved ones in here before heading into a team meeting with Coach Brad Scott to be a fly on the wall in there, whether he was imparting some wisdom, wrapping an arm around, or maybe implying a bit of heat. Who knows? Trying to get the best out of this group. I sensed a little bit of optimism. I think they think mathematically that they need things to go their way, but who knows if the planets can align. And certainly the downcast, or the faces, they haven't been downcast. There's certainly been some smiles, but you can tell there's probably some gritted teeth behind them as well. So yeah, just taking their time processing at the moment. The players are just coming out of the team meeting now and starting to go through their sort of stretching routine and whatnot. We'll see if we can have a chat with someone, but they seem pretty locked into their routine at this stage.
All right, Rory, hang around. See if we get to hear from someone, because you kind of understand if they don't really want to do any media tonight. The Suns winners by a point.
Mathematically, Bully and I can win Tats Lotto as well. So, look, I get that though. That's you have to spin it some way to.
So how would Brad Scott try and spin it?
That's a good question. How would you spin that, Bully? I think it's more probably the missed opportunities in the last quarter. I think that's somewhere where you can go, hey guys, if we nail one of these, we win the game.
I don't think that what they were criticised for prior to last week, I don't think we saw that a regression back in terms of, everyone's calling it the edge, but the effort and the intensity that we saw last week, I thought they were pretty good. I thought they delivered from that point of view tonight. I think this is purely just an execution thing. Now that's a leadership thing. That's just players having the composure to take the moment and clearly they're still not quite there yet. When the top top two, the best teams are. So I don't think I didn't see players not giving.
No,
you
can't.
So I think that's.
There's no question.
Disappointed as they walk away. If they can still hang their head on that, then the other stuff will come.
Yeah.
I
think it's just talking
Keep
about
putting yourself in the position.
Yeah, I think you just talk about moments within a game of football and how critical every one of those are. Like, yep, okay, we'll talk about Sam Collins winning the contested football here, but I'd be more disappointed when Butterick gets the free kick and they can't find a player. That's because the ball's all the way at the other end. So you can lock the ball in there, and that's what Essendon were able to do for the majority of that quarter, and then they give an easy out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see them coming out and putting on a really good performance against the Swans. I'm still not convinced about the Swans. When you think about, they're still trying to find their way out of the slump that they were in. Now, their stars in the end carried them over the line last night, but I think they should look ahead to another great opportunity on Friday night to take down the top of the table side, regardless of what that means, for finals and beyond. I think that's really how they have to look at it. Keep finding these opportunities. Another opportunity for Nick Bryan to see if he can be the number one ruckman and Sam Draper play forward.
Brody Grundy will be a big challenge for him. He needs to take those.
They do play Brisbane in the final round at the Gabba. The Lions have lost 4 games at home, so when we start to talk about mathematically a chance, you never know. I think you've given up maybe, Rama.
Look, I think that they had to win all 3 of them. Okay, just to make some surety. Oh, yep, they can still mathematically do it, but
just without having to rely on other results.
Right. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be tough. Like, to come up against Sydney and Brisbane in the final 2 rounds and have to win those games, they shouldn't be in that position. They should have already had their 14 wins by now. If they had their 14 wins by now, they're playing finals. That's how the season works at the moment. So, look, this is the thing. Like, Brad Scott, I think he's putting a really good program together at Essendon, and he's really challenging the players. Like the message that he left them with after the Collingwood debacle of the last round last year, I thought rang true, and how they performed over a pre-season, how they started the season, but clearly it's still not quite there. Clearly they've clearly got another level that they can go to and find, and they need to go and find that.
The psychological challenge of creating some stability, it feels like a lot of sides, they ride the roller coaster, but they are a little unsettled, and it does become infectious, doesn't it, when they start to get a little nervous and jittery with their ball movement. How do you try and address that? Confidence, consistency.
I think it's repetition. That's what I personally think. Like if you
system.
Yeah, if you look, you can kick up and down the line all game. It's the teams that are really brave and that are prepared to take the ball off the line time and time again and work the ball quickly through the middle of the ground into scoring positions. So once it's in scoring position, then the next phase of the game is to lock the ball in, set up behind the football. So it's basically the ball it's closer to our goals than it is to theirs. So you make the game easy, you make the game simple, and I just think Essendon they go through parts of games where they do it really well, and then they go through other parts of the games where they win the ball across half-back and they want to handball and muck around with the football, and they invite pressure, and that's where teams are able to get on top of them. And that's what we saw tonight. I thought particularly in that third quarter, Gold Coast were terrific because Essendon allowed the pressure of Gold Coast by not kicking the football. And to me, that's repetition. Like, that's repetition at training. That's repetition when you're doing your extras by yourself that, hey, I've got to pull the trigger on this kick. I've just got to hit this target. And if you can't do it, well, you will struggle to make it as an AFL player, as a long-term AFL player. That's where I was impressed tonight with Archie Roberts. I thought, oh, this kid's got something.
Yeah, not overawed, wasn't he? Yeah,
No.
And looks a nice kick at the footy.
Yep.
You can't have enough of those in your team. Jordan Ridley's been out, hasn't he? I'm just trying to think of players in that back six, because they are workmanlike, aren't they? That back six when you and it was interesting that a couple of texts come in. The Essendon supporters are onto it.
Yeah.
They just at times and you said it, either invited pressure by poor decision making or poor execution coming out of the back half. And once the Gold Coast got a bit of a sniff, they were able to capitalise on some of those mistakes, weren't they?
Well, the really good teams have got really good users of the football across halfback. And they can make really smart decisions under the most intense heat. So, you look at Sydney at the moment, Nick Blakey, the decisions he makes behind the football, the way he's able to take the game on is terrific. At the moment, Brisbane, Dane Zorko, what he's being able to do across halfback. GWS, Lockie Whitfield, how he's able to use the ball.
Yeah.
Perryman, he uses the ball really well. Sam Taylor as a tall. Bailey Dale at the Bulldogs. Like the really good teams have got those users, and
Port Adelaide have got them.
You need one definitely, and two's an absolute luxury if you can have two of them.
So who can that be at the Bombers?
Oh, look, I think Jordan Ridley when he's fit. Like you got to remember, Jordan Ridley missed the first 7 or 8 weeks. He came back for Dreamtime at the G and was really good. Like he's a smart user of the football when he's up and going. I think Andy McGrath uses the football well across halfback. But their ideal scenario is to have Jordan Ridley and Zach Reid in that back six, and then work around sort of that. Obviously Mackay then will play. McGrath's in there. Redmond's probably in there.
Which is probably why they've used Nick Martin in that role at times to help their transition.
Yeah.
But Dyson Heppel, obviously, speculation as to whether his career will come to an end now that finals are out of contention. Those conversations will probably heat up, and maybe the awkwardness temporarily between a club to try and encourage a player to make the call on their own rights rather than them having to make it for him.
When did he last play? Yeah, I forgot about him too.
A couple of weeks ago. He's missed the last 2.
With injury?
No, he's been dropped. Last 2.
Okay. Well,
Look, ultimately, if he wants to play, and the club allow that, he's just got to be prepared to play in the VFL. Now, some guys that get to that point of their career are not prepared to do that. But at the same time, as a footballer, you back yourself in and say, well, no, I'll have a good pre-season, I'll start the year well, and we'll go from there.
Which he did, didn't he? I mean, his first half of the year was really good. He was a pretty valuable player back there, but he's obviously just gone out of favour a little bit. So yeah, that'll be a watch. It'll be an interesting. It's obviously given the service he's given to the club, it'll be I'm sure it'll be done collaboratively, won't it? Yeah, I know. It sounds like he's got a good relationship with Brad, so. There's probably not too many others, is there, that I know they keep Goldstein around just as that mentor type role, you would think. Other than that, they've got a pretty reasonably healthy list in terms of an age profile, haven't they?
Yeah, they do. And so I think we flipped the conversation over to Gold Coast now. And I asked Jared Witts about those younger type players. So Rowell and Anderson are still young.
We all agree now Mac Andrews is a forward?
No.
Not convinced.
No, I'm not convinced.
He could take back marks like that.
Well, I think he took some set bounces, didn't he?
They want that to be Jed Walter.
Yeah.
Yes, and maybe
that should have been Ben. That should have been Ben King taking that.
Yeah, or Lukosius, but I mean, he took some centre bounces, so he's a perfect swingman. Yeah. I think his value will be his ability to be able to go forward when required, and kick a goal, go into the middle of the ground if the matchup demands that, and then. I still liked him behind the ball in terms of seeing the game in front of him, being able to read the game, impact the game in the air, and he's a lovely kick as well. So it's a fair asset to have.
But this will be the Damien Hardwick challenge, won't it? With a side which has so much talent. Noah's Ark, two of each animal. They need to try and work out what the best
combination is. He's not seduced by talent.
Yeah, and I'm not sold on the so much talent.
But he has to challenge that talent to get the best out of it. Otherwise, they've just been used
they don't play.
Yeah. Playing top end.
And Lukosius is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like I think in the past, Gold Coast have been seduced by talent. Oh, we've got all these high draft picks. We've got this, that, and the other, but we get inconsistent effort.
Yeah. And you look at you stack them up against the other new club in a sense that came in the year after, and you go, how has that team managed to consistently now build a culture where they expect to play finals and they get hit with setbacks and all that sort of stuff, and they had high draft picks as well, but they've built this culture where they just seem a bit more blue collar, and I think that's what Damien will look at, I think, and that's what he'll try and instill now with this group. You're right, it's not about what draft pick number you were or what your purported talent is. It's not about that at all. It's about effort. So give me the Bodie Ewans who have a crack give me the Nick Holmans who just work their backside off and compete every time. So I think that's what this year's been about, or the second half of the year's been about for Damien now. And I would expect now that it's more about those pieces around the edges for the Gold Coast that are going to propel them forward next year.
Well, you look at the names. So Sam Kalahesi plays on a wing. His athletic profile, why they drafted him, was just perfect for the way Damien Hardwick wanted to play. He's had 23 possessions tonight. Will Graham, hard edge player, 20 possessions tonight, 9 of those contested. Nick Holman comes back into the team, 19 possessions, 11 contested possessions.
Ben Long was super.
Butterick was really good. Brodie Ewland was really good. We've mentioned Mac Andrew. Jake Rogers, I thought that was his best game tonight. Bailey Humphrey is a good player. He probably hasn't shown his best form tonight this season, but Dimmer brings him back into the team because clearly there was some consistency at VFL level. So, if you look at the way Richmond were, Jess, and you look at what he's trying to build at the Gold Coast, you're not going to get exactly the same blueprint, but you can expect the same effort and intensity, and I think that's what he's weeding that out at the moment, Dimmer.
So the 4 players that he dropped for tonight's game, Jack Lukosius, as we've just mentioned, Mally Roses, Braden Fiorini and Joel Jeffrey, but Jack Lukosius is the most telling one. You'd think that there's sort of a cloud over his future at the moment. He's historically been linked to a move back to SA, but, Hardwick, I think, making those 4 changes this week, and that one, I think, says a lot about what he wants from his players.
Well, I think it's up to Jack. Well, do you want to fight for your spot and be a consistent performer week in, week out? Because he's ultra talented. He's probably the most talented player that they have. That the way he kicks the football, the way he can mark, play both ends of the ground. But, Jack, do you want to fight for your career and become a really good player, or you can take the easy way out and potentially leave? Go
back to South Australia.
It's more his decision rather than the club's decision, isn't it?
So
I'm sure he's played well, and he's
a restricted free agent at the end of 2026.
Yeah, so he's
still got a couple of years to run on his contract. But I'm sure the South Australian clubs will ask the question at the end of the season: do you want to let him go?
Yeah.
And it will be the
conversation
around whether they feel like
do they want to let him go? Because they'll want Lukosius to stay Gold Coast. It's to Jack. Do you want to stay at the Gold Coast and make this your home?
Are you invested in what we're
right? Yeah, that's what I think it is. I might be completely off the mark, but knowing the way I know Damien Hardwick, I'm pretty sure that's what it will be.
What have you made of Damien Hardwick's, the way he's spoken? Obviously, he had that moment in a press conference where he let some verbs slip, but, he's been quite open, I think, in showing his frustrations this year. And what do you think about that? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think, maybe he knew what he was in for when he went to the Suns? Or sort of how do you read his behaviour and language at times?
I haven't minded it. Yeah, for me, it's. I think there was a bit of a honeymoon period. I think, and then as the years gone on, and the frustration you can tell has started to build. I think the clubs needed, someone. And when you've got his CV, you get sort of granted a few more pardons in a sense. The F-bomb was the most famous one, but I think with his CV, he's got the gravitas or the credits in the bank to be able to publicly now demand more from this club that everyone's just sort of feels like hopes that they'll do well, but nothing's ever eventuated. I think now he's I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, Jess, that he's really pointed with them publicly as much as you would expect he is behind closed doors.
I think
Demons and the Tigers to close out.
I'll be quick. I think when he makes public comment, it's not necessarily addressed at the public; it's addressed at the players. I'm sure he'll make the comments behind closed doors, but also then making it to the public. It's showing supporters, it's showing players, hey, I've had enough of this.
I'm going to put it on the public record.
I'm putting on the public record, so that's what we're going to be accountable for. If there's no accountability to this football club, we'll continue to get the same results. If we're accountable to each other first, and then if we're accountable to the public because I'm making that public statement, that's what it is.
Damien Hardwick will be smiling after his team's 1-point win tonight. Speaking of accountability, the votes for the ABC Football of the Year. We certainly have.
I'd pack the book away, but we haven't even had a chance to... Do you want me to... So I wrote down just as before before McAndrew, so before we knew the results.
There's a lot of Essendon final quarter going on here.
Yeah, that's right. No, I thought, we'll start with, I thought Matthew Rao cleared 3. Ramo, I don't think I'll have any arguments with that. I just thought he was magnificent tonight. The best game I've seen him play for a long, long time. I thought he led the way and willed his team over the line. Going to give Zach Merritt 2, the Bombers skipper. I thought he was brilliant. A little bit of a quieter start, but just got better and better as the game went on, and really did all but win it for his team in that last quarter as well. Now, and the one vote, Rama, I'd written down Nick Martin. I love Ben Long's game. I mean, the match winner himself, the goal kicker kicking 4 in a game where they win by a point. So, who do you reckon?
No way.
I'll give it to Nick Martin.
We're on a cliff edge.
I'll give it to Nick Martin.
What about the match winner? He's kicked 4.
Yeah. Still think he's a defender.
3 to Rowell, 2 to Merritt, 1 to Martin in the controversial votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year from Luke Ball. All right, we're done here at Docklands. MCG tomorrow. Hawthorn and Carlton, who wins?
Huge. Oh, gee, I think Carlton just win. They just find a way to win.
Yeah, I'm on the Blues tomorrow.
All right, it should make for an interesting day at the footy tomorrow. We're on air from midday for AFL Sunday. Thanks to Rama, thanks to Bully, thanks to Jules, to Craig back at base, to Rory down the boundary, and great to call alongside Jess Webster. The Gold Coast Suns winners by a point. Their 7-game losing streak on the road comes to a close, and the Bombers season has as well. 13-9-87 to the Bombers, 12-14-86. Thanks for your company. We'll do it all again tomorrow.
Do you have a favourite ABC show? Perhaps a favourite ABC personality? Tony Armstrong, maybe? Or Sarah Ferguson? How much do you love Gardening Australia? Gruen, Four Corners, Muster Dogs and Bluey? Well, show them some love by voting for them and others in the 2024 Logie Awards. Simply head to tvweeklogies.com.au and cast your vote today.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of conversations.
My guest for you today is Phil Vardy, and Phil's a man who embodies the true definition of courage as I see that, and by that I mean going on doing the right thing even when you're scared out of your mind. You might remember Phil Vardy as the man who blew the whistle on a sad case of scientific fraud that was perpetrated by a towering figure of Australian medical research. And unfortunately, like a lot of whistleblowers, Phil was forced to leave his job. He suffered alienation and denunciation before he was vindicated in an inquiry. But, you know, there's so much more to Phil Vardy than that horrible episode. Phil's performed stunts with basking seals in Antarctica. He survived a bike accident that robbed him of the use of his legs, and that led him to take up sailing and to champion the cause of disabled sailing all the way to the Paralympics. Sailor, scientist and whistleblower Phil Vardy is actually best described as a world-class enthusiast. Phil, good morning. Hello.
Morning, Richard.
It was your wife that dobbed you in to appear on this, wasn't it?
It was, yes. I may forgive her if she's good.
She sent me an email. When did the penny drop that your wife had dobbed you in for conversations?
I can't remember whether it was before or after she sent the email, but can we move on, please? This is embarrassing enough.
Sailing is your great passion at the moment,
of course. Certainly is.
And I'm seeing you wearing a Beijing 2008 Paralympics shirt because you've got plenty of them and you don't need to iron them, do you?
No, you definitely don't. No.
They're a marvellous thing.
I have cubic metres of these feet, these cubic metres of these shirts, and if... When I die, I think my son's going to discover them all, so I decided to wear them.
You wear one for each day of the year.
I almost could, yes.
Sailing for a disabled person, for someone like you who doesn't have the use of his legs, what does that mean for you when you want to go sailing? From leaving the house to getting into the boat and starting starting to sail it, Phil?
You're asking about what it feels like? You're asking about the physical
process,
difficulties?
the actual process of it.
Well, it's much better than it once was. Now there's all sorts of facilities. Sailability Gold Coast, for instance, has a wonderful facility down there at Holywell, and it's all set up for disabled people, and there are hoists to put severely disabled people in boats. The boats are brought out by wonderful volunteers, and so it's relatively easy. But that's all happened in the last 15 years. 15 years ago, it certainly wasn't like that. I had to put a canoe in the water and bum my way down steps, then transfer into the canoe. And
really? You hoist yourself out of the wheelchair and just bounce on your bum down the wharf. Is that what it is?
Yes. And drag the wheelchair with me, collapse the wheelchair, put it in the canoe, paddle out to the boat, and then get someone else, because I always went sailing with someone else, to lean the boat sideways by leaning out as far as possible to lower the edge of the gunnel. Then I'd transfer up to the boat, put the wheelchair down below, rig the boat, tie the canoe to the mooring, and off we'd go. It was terrific.
And then you go, though. That's the thing, though.
Yeah, then you go, yes.
And then you go real fast, too, don't you?
Well, it does. In sailing, it doesn't matter how fast you go, as long as you go. It's worse than being becalmed without a motor.
What special challenges are there for you, though, as not having the use of your legs while you're sailing? Is it really no different from anyone else once you're actually sitting up in the boat, Phil?
It depends on what sort of boat you sail. Obviously, I'm not as mobile as an able-bodied person, so I tend not to move around the boat too much, and my balance is not very good, so it's good to have a stable platform on which to sail, or to be tucked into a good seat or a good handhold, etc. But apart from matters of strength and mobility and balance, sailing for people with disabilities is just the same, even better, I say, than sailing for able-bodied people.
Why?
Because it offers a sense of freedom and movement that's absolutely unparalleled. It's just great to be out of your wheelchair, out there on the water, feeling the waves, the salt, the sea and the sun, and be absolutely free of all the symbols of disability, like the wheelchair. Out there on the water, no one knows that I'm disabled. I can hail another sailor, he or she can hail back, and they might not even know that I'm disabled. And I can compete against able-bodied people, and the thought of disability is left behind. It's one of the most empowering experiences, I think, that a disabled person can get into. And that's what drives me to, I think, make this the preeminent sport for disabled people, because there is nothing